Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Sissy Jones, Delilah from Firewatch, and you're listening to The Gaming Outsider.
What's happening, Gaming Outsiders? This week, CB is back. He joins Zack and I as we discuss games that have parts of their stories hidden by some means and how we feel about it. CB also has a lot of positive things to say about Power Wash Simulator VR, yes, in virtual reality, and also Rel stops by to tell us about his experience with a game called Trinity Fusion. This is The Gaming Outsider. Hey guys, if you're in the market for a new gaming chair, I've got a fantastic deal for you. We've partnered with eWin Racing, who produces the most comfortable gaming chair I've ever sat in. They've got them in sizes for all gamers, and the quality is simply incredible. As a listener of The Go, you can get 25% off your order if you use the promo code TGO at checkout when you visit ewinracing.com. You don't have to just take my word for it, however, as multiple members of our community have picked up a chair for themselves, and they love it just as much as I do. You won't be disappointed. eWin Racing, the best gaming chairs out there. Greetings, programs, and welcome to The Gaming Outsider, a video game podcast with a focus on our incredible community, which can be found at thegamingoutsider.com. We've also got a community at facebook.com/groups/thegocast, and even a Discord server. There is a link in the show notes for this very episode, and I encourage you to join. It is Sunday, December 17th. I'm your host, Scott Clark, and joining me are my good friends. First off, Mr. Zack Parkerson. How's it going, man?
Good. I woke up with a bit of an existential crisis, only a minor one. But other than that, we're great.
Well, I'm glad you're still here, man. And also joining us for the first time in a month, Mr. Chris Behrensmeyer. What's up, man?
Yeah, man.
How you been?
Life happens. Been
Yeah.
doing things.
I hear you.
Good old things.
Yeah.
Okay, but guys, this is what I woke up this morning thinking about. I was thinking about how Grand Theft Auto Vice City came out in 2002, right?
Uh-huh.
And it takes place in 1986, so 16 years ago. So if Rockstar did the same period piece today, it would be 2007.
That's nuts.
Then it just terrified me to my core.
I feel like 2007 doesn't feel that different.
I know, that's so, it's like the decade stopped progressing after the 90s, right?
Right,
There's
it feels like it.
Identifiable
Just digitally
styles.
Faster. That's all that's happened.
Yeah.
Would you say the internet got faster?
Everything got faster. Phones, internet, life.
So we stopped having culture, is that what you're saying?
Yeah. I'll just need to slow down a little bit.
Yeah, man. That's been this past month for me.
But I feel like we had this conversation before. Like the 90s was the last time where you had something that identified it as a decade, right?
I think that's
I
true.
can't think of anything in the aughts or in the 10s or in the 20s that make them feel like...
I think that we call it the aughts.
Have we agreed on that? As a nation?
I don't know what else to call it. The zeros?
The 2000s, right?
2000s?
But I guess that would
pointless
encounter
decade.
right?
That would encompass the entire century.
The 9/11 decade.
I don't know, everything post 2000.
The War on
Useless.
Terror years.
So anyway, this is a video game podcast. If this is your first time here, we do talk about video games here. And boy, do I have a story. Yeah, that's true. But then we started talking about decades. It's my fault. I got us on a tangent.
Yeah.
So this whole finishing my NES collection debacle has gotten crazier and crazier. So, again, if you haven't listened before, I am trying to collect all the Nintendo cartridges, which Chris has done, I don't know, 5-6 years ago. But I have been trying like mad to finish it, and I've got this one game left, and it's a third-party game called Big Nose Freaks Out. I ordered a copy online from an online retailer I wasn't familiar with. It was just like a mom-and-pop shop type of deal, at least I assume it is. They sent me the wrong game. I contacted them. They apologized, had me send it back, but this took weeks. And I sent it back, and then they contacted me back and said, we received it. And I said, okay, so when am I going to get a refund? And they're like, oh, well, we thought we were going to send you the correct game back. And I was like, perfect. That's what I wanted. So I waited and waited. And then yesterday, I got an email from them again saying, we apologize, but that game is no longer in stock, the one that you were looking for. And we will be issuing you a refund within the next 10 business days. Why it takes 10 business days to get me money back, I don't understand.
Because they spent your money.
Well, and banks never want to cough up the dough.
Banks, yeah, I guess. But anyway, so I found another online retailer, had the same game, and I purchased it for about the same price. It should be on its way to me, and fingers crossed they're not sending me the Aladdin version like the other company.
Is it the one that I sent you the link of?
I don't remember. I think it's DK Oldies or something like that.
Oh,
is the name of the...
why? Why would you?
Just let the man.
Dude, I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to get Aladdin in cart.
Let the
Because
man finish his collection.
I can't find another copy on eBay. I can't find a copy on Mercari. I can't find a copy on any of my online, like Facebook collector groups. Nobody has a copy they're willing to sell, and it's not like it's an insanely expensive game.
It's just stupidly obscure.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you should have just bought the one with the stickers on it and let me take the
I
stickers
should have.
off.
I'm kicking myself because it's not available anymore now. It's
Nope.
off of eBay. Yep. And I had my finger on the trigger when I was at your house that one day, and I just was like, it seems overpriced for how bad it looks, and I don't know if we can get the stickers up, and so here we are. And the thing is this is one of my New Year's resolutions, right? Was to finish this collection before the end of the year, and I've actually been doing pretty well with my New Year's resolutions. We'll talk about that in the episode down the road. And this was going to be one that I was going to check off the list and say I did that one, and I've got the money now, and I can't do it, and it's driving me crazy. So, anyway, that is my story of the week in terms of my frustrations with trying to. I'm just really looking forward to it being done. Too.
I'm hoping you get lucky and it's the Chimerica cart and not another Aladdin cart, but I don't hold any stock or faith in DK Oldies.
All right. I mean, I'm going to give it a shot, and if they send me the wrong one, I'm going to, I'm going to have an issue. So, anyway, let's talk about.
He's not going to do what we all think he's going to do, though, and freak out.
No, he'll just shave his head again, Britney style.
Oh, wow.
You had me at hello.
Aw. See, you get me.
Yeah, I get you.
Show me the money.
CB, you've been gone for quite a while. What have you been catching up on?
Ooh, well, first off, I beat Assassin's Creed Mirage.
Nice.
Hey, that game's pretty good.
I enjoyed it thoroughly. But surprisingly, I beat not Assassin's Creed, but Alan Wake Remaster.
Hey, now
The
that game's
the
great.
original. Yeah.
Yeah.
What'd you think?
I have so many questions, but yeah, that was a phenomenal experience.
You're going to have more questions
It's okay.
in Alan Wake 2.
I'm pretty far, a pretty decent chunk into Alan Wake 2 already.
Had you hit that moment yet?
No.
Again, there are
but
several that moments. Don't build it up too much, because then it can never live up to the hype.
well,
I know.
and see, here's the thing though. Like, I'm noticing so many things in the Remedy universe.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The RCU, the Remedy Connected Universe.
Yeah, like I'm like, hey, I know what that is, and then like even because I think I texted you about it. I noticed a piece of paper. I'm like, hey, look, it's the Department of Control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like in the first 10 minutes of actual gameplay of the game, I'm like, okay, this is gonna get fun. So I'm loving it.
The connections only grow from there, my man.
Oh, I have a feeling. I'm loving it. It is hauntingly beautiful to look at.
Yeah.
It really is.
Like, it is almost to the point of like I'm disturbed because I'm not getting that like uncanny valley effect. I'm like, this literally looks like I'm just watching people.
Yeah, I think in technical fidelity, I think it is like the best looking game I've ever played.
You could almost say it should get an award in art direction.
That would be something else.
Yeah.
Maybe even game direction too.
Game direction, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
So are you digging the second one in terms of gameplay, though?
Oh yeah,
Yeah? Okay.
I love the fact that the difficulty is definitely ramped up from the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Wolves suck, by the way.
Yeah, they do. It's just not fun to fight. They just suck.
Nope.
Dude, they are awful.
You could just like you're just whistling to yourself, waiting for them to get lined up so you can attack them. That's very frustrating.
Oh, I just charge at it with the shotgun.
Well, I guess that works too.
Run them down.
I do appreciate it's very different than the first game.
Yes.
It's a totally different experience, and I respect that.
Yep. So I'm definitely loving that. And then surprisingly, my oldest son was going through my game room and pulled out some old guitars.
Oh, really?
You had
been
the old
playing
6-string across your lap.
We've been playing some Guitar Hero 3 and Rock Band.
Why 3?
Because 3 was the first one that he grabbed because I had 2 with the reversed.
Well, 3 also has the Legends
Cover.
of Rock.
Yes.
So
But I have an alternate cover for my Guitar Hero 2, so he didn't recognize it right away.
This one had Slash on the cover, right?
3 did.
That's 3.
Were we
2
just
does-
talking about that, Zach?
But
Or break
Slash?
the seat on our no. But Guitar Hero 3, wasn't that one of the games we talked about on our Desert Islands episode?
Yeah, I think with a guest brought up, yeah.
Yeah, it's just like crazy that Guitar Hero 3 gets brought up this close
I
together.
think that was the height of its popularity, right, as a franchise?
Between 2 and 3. Like,
Yeah,
it's
Yeah.
both of those, because 2 had a stellar soundtrack.
Of course, I think 2 was the rise. I think 3 was the peak. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
I just felt like in high school, I feel like everybody had Guitar Hero 3.
Yeah, I thought I would have said 2. I felt like everybody had 2.
No, I saw
Okay.
3 more. But
Really?
mostly because 3 also had Tom Morello.
I think
that's
2 in my experience was, let's go over to Ryan's house. He's got Guitar Hero 2. Whereas Guitar Hero 3 was like everybody just had their own. In my
Okay.
experience.
Yeah, so we've been playing a lot of that. He's
Have you
getting better.
gone through the Fire and the Flames yet? Or is that two?
No. I deleted the save file,
Oh, okay.
and I'm making him play through like everything to unlock all the stuff,
Oh.
because that is definitely the style of game where I'm like, you need to progress with this game. Like, if you try to
Oh,
jump in
sure.
the deep end, you're gonna get smoked.
Yeah.
And
How's he doing?
He's doing okay. He's playing through on medium right now.
Is he left-handed?
No.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, he's like, oh, here, you do this one. He's like, I'm having trouble with it.
Nope.
Gold started.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I'm like, man, I haven't touched one of these in like 10 years.
You know what's really interesting?
Still can do it.
If you were to go back and play like the original Guitar Hero, I feel like, because I went back to the original after like 3 or what was the 4th one? World Tour or something like that.
Yeah, that's when they started doing all the weird ones. Like,
And oh yeah, there was like Van Halen and there was
Van Halen, Green Day, Metallica, Country.
Aerosmith.
Yeah, there was a few of them.
But like I went back and played the original one and it was almost unplayable. Like I didn't realize how accurate you had to be. It was so unforgiving.
Oh, yeah.
Or maybe it was a latency thing. I don't know.
Well,
Anyway,
he hits any of
that's-
the spots with the double strumming, and just immediately, like, he'll miss a note, and it's just downhill.
Oh yeah.
Like, you gotta get the rhythm, man.
He's got to learn. He's got to learn to pick himself up. Once he gets knocked down again, I mean,
You're never gonna keep him down.
definitely not.
What about you, Zach?
Oh, after beating Assassin's Creed Mirage, I was like, this game's similar, but it's just not it's not scratching the right itch. So I popped up Assassin's Creed 2 on my PS3.
Oh, didn't even do the remastered version. Just went to the
No,
original.
I tried to, and the faces are all messed up.
Oh, yeah. They're bad.
And what's going on? I feel like every remaster that's the case. From like the PS3 360 era, every time they remaster one of those games, it looks bad. But anyway,
Really?
I think the faces look terrible
Oh, no.
usually.
The faces in the Ezio collection are leaps and bounds worse
Yeah.
than the
And
original versions.
It was already distracting the Alan Wake remastered how much his face looked worse. I knew I couldn't do it again. I couldn't do it again, Scott, okay? So I whipped
Okay.
up the PS3. And, dude, this game's great.
Yeah.
These games are phenomenal, man. It's just they're just so immediately fun. Running around doing the parkour. You have so much more control in the old games than you do in the new ones. To be able to do different kinds of weird tricks and moves, like you can, run up a wall and jump off to the side, which you can't do in Mirage.
Which is so weird because I feel like when I first played Assassin's Creed when they first released, I felt like, man, this just feels a little janky. Like I don't feel like I have direct control like I do in other third-person style games.
Mm-hmm.
But then we play what we have now, and then you go back and it's like, oh yeah, I had plenty of control.
Yeah, more control than you thought. And then Assassin's Creed 2 has always been my least favorite story of the trilogy. I don't really like Ezio in this game. He's just that term Mary Sue that gets thrown around. Ezio is absolutely one of those. He never fails at anything. He's perfect at every task he puts himself to. He never has to. He never messes up and has a consequence for his actions. It's always been frustrating. However, He is cool. And Roger Craig Smith, excellent performance. Just a fun game. And the game opens up with you like having to beat your way out of Abstergo as Desmond. Dude, these games they used to be so great.
Plus, like the first appearance of Mario on a modern Xbox or PlayStation console.
That's true. Oh, thank you for your help. You don't recognize me? It's me, Mario. So good. Yeah, oh my god, dude.
I literally laughed out loud the first time I played that. I remember vividly laughing out loud at that.
I kept waiting for his lieutenant to be named Luigi.
Yeah, right?
But dude, everything with Monterrey, rebuilding it, like investing in rebuilding it, and you get to see the city get rebuilt. Oh my god, dude, it's so satisfying.
Yeah, I wish that was in more games still.
I definitely agree. And I like, I totally forgot about when you're climbing around and you can go into Eagle Vision on some landmarks, and you get those little codes that Subject 16 left for Desmond in the Animus's code. But you have to like do all these like Da Vinci Code puzzles to like figure out these paintings and stuff. To figure out some of the clues. I was taken right back to when the game came out, how amazing that was. Because like, I feel like everybody was playing it was like, what the hell is going on here?
And then there was like your reward was like a 2-second clip that you'd splice together with the other ones.
But that 2-second clips, you're like, we could talk about that for hours. There's so much juicy info and lore there. It's like, oh man, I was just taken right back to like when, like it went back when it felt like there was a direction they were taking this. It was back like watching early Lost. You're like, surely they know what they're doing.
Yep.
Yeah, dude. It's just
that actually just like awesome. Unlocked another memory for me is playing the first Watch Dogs, finding those QR codes randomly hidden throughout the city.
Yeah.
That unlocks stuff as well.
See, man, Ubisoft used to be cool, man. But yeah, man, if you guys anybody out there is missing Assassin's Creed 2, absolutely holds up. Oh my god, and those freaking assassin tombs and Templar dungeons you can get to where it's basically just Prince of Persia platforming in the middle of Assassin's Creed.
Those were the best.
They are awesome. They're phenomenal.
The ones in Brotherhood were almost as good, but not quite as good as they were in 2. The one that stands out is like this massive church where you're just going around like the chandeliers.
I just did that one.
Yeah. Oh, that was just, I just remember thinking that was so cool. It was so much fun figuring it out, and you didn't have to worry about enemies. It was just straight parkour.
And what's great about those levels is that because a lot of early Assassin's Creed criticism was that they don't have a lot of fine control over your character. But the platforming in these sections require that, so you learn that you actually can if you just pause to think about what you're doing.
Right.
And it's just very rewarding, and I'm having a great deal of fun with it. I just wanted to play up until Monterrey, but I haven't been able to stop playing. And what's nice is that I'm about a third of the way through the game in only about 3 or 4 hours. How nice.
Are those that short?
Yeah,
they weren't long.
They're like 12 to 15 hours roughly, yeah.
I did not remember they were that short, man. That's nuts.
It's only super long if you go and collect like all the feathers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not doing that again.
But I'm doing like all the tombs and all the viewpoints and then just the main story mission. Yeah, it looks like I'm on track to probably beat it 12, 14 hours.
That's unheard of in an Assassin's Creed game now.
Yeah, well, I was thinking about that. I was like, dude, it's crazy that Ivor's single game means that they have more screen time than the entire Ezio trilogy does for Ezio.
Yeah, by a long shot.
Which is nuts.
Yeah.
And think about how much more satisfying those games were.
Yep.
Because they had a beginning, a middle, and an end. They gave you stuff to think about for the next year's entry. And there was so much fun with that mystery all the way up until Assassin's Creed 3. And then, they kind of tanked it in 4 when they turned Abstergo into a video game company or whatever the hell they did. But
yeah, I will admit that was kind of silly. But I actually recently repurchased the collection. It might have been last Christmas, but it was on sale. And I got it for like $10 with the intent. Oh yeah, I'll play that. Yeah, it hasn't happened. But,
you should. It doesn't take very long.
I apparently, but I got a stack to get through before the end of the year, man. So
I think we let's both replay Assassin's Creed and pretend like we're playing them as they come out and be like, what does this mean?
That would be fun. As for me, I have been picking away at Day of the Diver. I had hoped to finish it yesterday. I looked it up. There are 7 chapters, and I am in chapter 6, so I didn't quite make it. But this game just keeps giving and giving and giving, man. I hit one sequence, because you know how this game is basically them trying to cram as many different genres into one game at a time. And it's great. It's so good. There's one part that I legit laughed out loud while I was playing it. Like, I just couldn't believe what I was seeing on screen and what I was doing. It's hilarious. But all these things are like entire gameplay sections that you play for 5 minutes and then never see again. Like you just never see it again.
That's awesome. The Nintendo school.
Yeah,
of game design.
It's that's really great. The story is genuinely interesting. It's they do something with they do something story-wise that I've never seen done in a movie or video game or audiobook or whatever, that I can't tell you what it is.
Oh.
Not that this is a super spoilery type game, but it's just such a great concept that I'm like, somebody needs to take that idea and run with it and make a movie or something about it.
I'm going to have to ask you about this after the show.
Yeah, for sure. It's really good, but
let me
the progression.
Ask you one question, and anybody who cares about Dave the Dialer spoilers, fast forward 15 seconds.
Okay.
Scott, do you get to make your own sushi?
Like your very own, like to eat yourself?
Do you take over the shop to make the sushi instead of being an assistant?
Not to where I am.
Okay.
Not yet, but I remember seeing in the trailers, like there are sushi making mini games, and I've not come across that yet. There is a chef named either Bancho or Bancho that is the chef, and you bring him the materials.
Right. Okay.
And so
Cool.
I don't know if that happened. I assume it does, but
all right, stop talking about it. That's 15 seconds are up.
Sorry, my bad.
Interesting choice of names.
Why?
It's if I remember correctly, that's like a curse word, like certain languages.
Oh, well, sorry, whoever I just offended, but CB, I think you would really like this game. There are Harvest Moon elements, like you get a farm, you grow plants. Very, very minor. It's not like super complicated. I know if you played Stardew Valley, this is going to seem like a walk in the park. But there's just so many little tiny moving parts of different genres in games, and it's just really, really great. Also, I feel like I relate to Dave so much, because every time somebody asks him to do something, he's like, I don't know about that. And someone says, no, but you should just do it. And he's like, no, okay. Like,
oh, it's so nice that you they made a game starring you.
Yeah,
Nice.
it kind of feels like it. So, there's a straight up Navy SEAL stealth level. Like, what?
Oh.
Like it turns into a 2D stealth mission. It's just crazy how much stuff goes into this game, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it. So, but I had to take a break playing it yesterday because I actually met our producer Kevin up in a town just north of Rockford here at a place called Louis Tap House to play some real life pinball, not Pinball FX, but some real tables. I actually added 5 new tables to my list of ones I've never played before. So, the one that stood out is the 2022 James Bond table, which is a really great freaking table because it kind of covers all of the old classic James Bond movies at once. But each table apparently has its own specific backdrop based on one of the movies. So like the one I was playing just has You Only Live Twice all over the place.
Oh, okay.
But everything in it is all based on all of the movies. It's not just one, not just that one. So, but that was a lot of fun. That was a great table, and the LCD screen on the back will play clips from the movie. Like if you get a ball locked or something, and you got a little minute to wait, you watch like a 5 or 6 second clip from the movie, and it's just fun. So, had a blast with that. But Dave the Diver, I know this is like the 3rd week in a row I've talked about it. I really hope people check it out because it's pretty great. So, okay. With that, let's go ahead and jump into the week's news. A couple of new trailers. First off, we got a DLC for Power Wash Simulator called Santa's Workshop. Yes, you get to Power Wash Santa's Workshop. Also, a first-person shooter game called Mouse. I'm sure we're going to talk about that later. And then the big news story this week, E3 is officially dead. Naughty Dog has also canceled its online mode for The Last of Us. The Death Stranding film has a studio, and also, I thought this was interesting, some 26 or more year-old footage of Luigi in Super Mario 64 has surfaced. CB, you've been gone quite a bit of time here. Why don't you go ahead and pick a story you want to talk about?
Well, let's just stab the knife in further. E3 is officially dead. Sad boy is sad.
I guess saying it's official, like, did we all think it was coming? I thought we were all kind of like just pretty much done
Well, they
with
kept talking about they were working on finding a replacement for it.
E4.
I don't know, man.
Skip right to E5.
PS9.
Yeah, I remember that commercial. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so E3 started 28 years ago. There's 2 people on this podcast that have been twice. I got invited, and then COVID decided to just crap on my plans.
Well, you're just gonna have to like go to PAX or go to Colton or something like
Man,
that.
screw that. I'm just gonna go to the Tokyo Game Show. Just
There you go. Do it.
go ball. Yeah, so from their Twitter account, after 2 decades of E3, each one bigger than the last, the time has come to say goodbye. Thanks for the memories. And the funny thing is, I've been seeing a ton of people, like celebrities and everything, who are like, yeah, we're all sad. Like, celebrities and like some of the bigger guests, like they all loved it, but
I can't understand why I care if celebrities are sad about E3.
Well, because it was like a nice big joining of everybody.
Yeah.
It's just everything else that kind of like ruined it.
I mean, I know I'm sad, dude. I mean, there was nothing. I mean, I guess I'm not like super sad because the writing was on the wall. But growing up, man, there was no time of the year more exciting than E3 week.
Dude, it was great. And it kind of sucks that our E3 now is the Game Awards.
Yeah, that's not great.
Don't lie to me. That's not even close.
I'm just saying that's what we get because everything is streamed. Everybody does their own thing now. There's not like an event where people actually gather together, and everything is like a fan event now. There's not like just developers getting together or a press getting together. It's all about TikTok and all that kind of stuff now.
Well, and it's just sad because like it's just another nail in the coffin from COVID of just killing things that a lot of us loved or finding ways to.
I even enjoyed covering that when we were doing it digitally, man.
Yeah. Like
we got to do some like behind. We got to meet with some developers online and talk to them while we're playing their game, and it was cool.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Like Jeff Keighley's Summer of Games stuff it's not even in the same part. Growing up, like Zack said, like I loved E3 week because it was like our Oscars week.
Yeah, it was always my Super Bowl.
Yeah,
and it was fun to get online and you get on the forums. You're all talking to each other about what you're seeing, and then the the live stage stuff. Where accidents could happen. Now everything's so clean and sterile. Everything's so corporatized now and safe. But back then, dude, you had exciting moments like the Uncharted demo freezing or weird the Wii music thing. You had some goofy stuff up there, but then you had the
caffeine.
Dude.
Your body will never be ready again.
Yeah. Dude, Mr. Caffeine maybe suicidal. But but you'll never have the Last of Us moment where they came out and Naughty Dog came out, played the game live on stage. It was phenomenal. People were standing up clapping, and then the developer just drops the controller like it was a mic and just walks off stage. You're never gonna have that again, dude. That sucks.
And I just miss the audience participation too, like not from a like getting in the way thing or our Reverend Bill Clinton type of thing, but like the first time they showed the Last of Us trailer and that final shot where somebody took a shotgun to the face.
Yes.
Like and it fade to black, and then just hearing the audience's reaction after that was awesome. Like we don't even at the Game Awards we don't get that anymore. I feel like if you hear the audience like kind of queue up after the trailer is done,
you can almost hear the applause lights go on.
Yeah, and they'll wrap it up.
Or watching grown men, professional journalists cry at the Twilight Princess trailer.
Yeah. I miss stuff like that. The Kinect unveiling.
Yeah. Or the Skyward Sword not working on stage. Just so many incredible. Tony Hawk giving Jamie Kennedy no end of crap for showing up drunk to the Activision stage show.
I don't remember that.
That was pretty good, dude.
We'll never have another opening with Just Dance.
Oh man, that was like every Ubisoft. Yeah.
Yep.
As a tradition.
I don't know, man. Like the cool thing about being there, and CB, I'm not saying this to rub it in, But part of the fun of being there was just seeing what these developers and publishers put together with booths. Just the elaborate detail that went into doing all that. And like, it's just not necessary to spend that kind of money on it anymore, which is a bummer. Because it was so cool, man. The Nintendo booth alone was like a couple city blocks. Am I...
I mean, that might be a bit of an exaggeration, but it was pretty big.
It was massive. And just the fact that you could walk up and down and just see it. I mean, even like at the end when we were trying to wrap up and you and I were just like kind of walking the floor together just to see what else can we check out really quick before we have to leave. You know what I mean? And I think, didn't we get into that Sony thing like right at the very end? And we saw Days Gone like at the last minute.
The International Press Room?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got us in there.
Yeah, we didn't even know it was a thing.
Yeah.
You got to meet one of the dudes from, it just so cool. We ran into Sissy, and then Sissy introduced us to Elias Tufexis. Am I saying am I pronouncing his name correctly?
Yeah, the voice of Adam Jensen. I think that's
Adam
right.
Jensen.
And Megan Hutchinson, right?
Yes. You mean, wait.
Melissa Hutchinson.
Melissa Hutchinson.
Oh, you're right. Sorry.
Yeah.
And then met some Telltale developers who had read my work, which was cool.
Right?
Yeah.
So, after the Batman game, I do remember that.
Yeah.
So, like, are we ever going to get anything like that? Like a thing that you can go to, or is
Not
it just
in the States.
completely unnecessary?
It's unfortunate because we have PAX East, we have PAX West, and all those, but it's never going to be. E3 was our big one because then you also have Gamescom in Germany,
TGS,
Tokyo Game Show. So like that was the big three. Beyond that, there's nothing, and those keep getting bigger every year.
Right. So what's the common denominator here? Is it the ESA?
It's the
or
ESA.
Is it America?
No, because here's the thing: like we have one of the largest gaming communities worldwide, but for some reason, like everybody's got to stick their thumb in it and take their cut, and forget that it's about the gamers. Not
well, it's not. It's a marketing event. It's not. It's not about the gamers at all. E3. It was about selling your game.
Yeah,
but who's going to buy your game? The gamers.
Well, the gamers are going to buy it. Well, that's what they learned, right? They don't need to market. The gamers will buy anything. It doesn't matter.
But it's just insane, like how there's still like a little bit of that stigma, like doing shows here is dirty. But like you look at
what stigma? I don't know what you're talking about. I've never heard this before in my life.
Every single person I've ever talked to, like when I first got that invitation to E3, I was like, yeah, man, I'm going to E3. And they're like, ew. Like, just because there's still that, like, when you get a bunch of gamers together, like, it's just going to smell like BO.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I thought you meant.
There's a lot of people that think that, like, when you get gamers together, it's just a dirty, nasty pile of people.
I mostly got, what's E3?
Yeah, that's usually what I get as well. My coworker, my teaching partner, knows all about it because I talk about it all the time, and every year she's like, "So are you going to E3 this year?" It's really kind of sweet. She doesn't.
It's kind of nice. She cares.
Yeah, she does care. She's my work mom.
I don't want to rub it into CB, but I'm so happy we got to go. And that we did it, of our own accord, right? By our own bootstraps. It's super cool, and it is a rare instance where an actual dream came true because that's all I wanted to do as a kid was grow up to get to go to E3, and live that experience. And because I
would you love to have like taken some of those pictures and showed them to like 13-year-old you? And be
that
like,
I actually got there.
Yeah,
I think so. Because I used to religiously watch like GameSpot's stage show where they would bring developers on to show off their game for like 20 minutes and interview them and stuff. And I would scour all the different websites to be like, oh, nobody's covering Indigo Prophecy, man. Somebody has to have interviewed them. What's going on? It was such a thrill. And yeah, being there was cool. Scott, you saw it. If I could speak selfishly, that was a different version of me, man. I came alive at that stage show.
You did.
I was moving and shaking. I was talking our way into things and chatting up with developers, getting to see stuff that we weren't even signed up for. And oh no, we're all booked up on Lego DC. And then I just talked to the guy a little bit about Dark Side and Kirby's Fourth World. He's like, you know what? Just come on back. It's fine. Like it's just, I don't know, man. I had a level of charm and excitement and life in me that will never have again.
Remember that time I got us into an early look at Watch Dogs Legions by giving away that statue of CD?
Yeah, by just being a good person.
And I wasn't even doing it like for that reason. I just was like, hey, you know, I'm gonna probably have trouble taking this home. You seem like you want it. Here, just take mine, dude.
I
It's okay.
we didn't even know
my
he was a
camera
Watch
still
Dogs.
hates you too.
We didn't even know he was a Watch Dogs employee, right? We just gave it to him because he seemed like he really wanted it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He actually walked past. He asked us about it, walked past us, and then I weirdly chased him down on the street and said, "Here, man, you can have it." And then he came back to us a few minutes later and was like, "Hey, you want to see Watch Dogs?"
Yeah.
I was just like, what a cool story. Boy, we sure are talking about this a lot for something that I kind of consider to be a non-news story. Like
it's a good time to celebrate. You know, a lot of negativity in the games industry this year. You know, 9,000 plus people out of work. But so it's nice. I don't know. It's nice to celebrate something.
I agree. Well, let's talk about something else positive. Zach, what story would you like to talk about?
So, the thing I want to talk about ain't positive at all, man.
I know. That's why I said it.
But Naughty Dog has canceled The Last of Us Online, as they seem to keep calling it. I thought it was just going to be called The Last of Us Factions after the game mode, but Naughty Dog put out a statement. We were enthusiastic about the direction in which we were headed. However, to release and support The Last of Us Online, we have to put all of our studio resources behind supporting post-launch content for years to come, severely impacting development on future single-player games. So we had two paths in front of us: become a solely live service game studio or continue to focus on single-player narrative games that have defined Naughty Dog's heritage. They also claim that they have more than one new big single-player title being worked on. And The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered, I guess, would be one of those, right? Because that's coming out on January 19th. And, let's not forget The Last of Us is a huge franchise now with the HBO show.
Mm-hmm.
This statement is stupid. Like, what?
Yeah, hire some people.
Well, no, if what they're saying is true, then this is a level of incompetence that we shouldn't trust Naughty Dog with ever again. Because it just snuck up on you that live service games have to be supported?
Yeah. Have they ever done a live service game before? I don't remember there being. Wasn't there an online one for the original Last of Us?
Yeah, but it wasn't constant new content.
Right.
But I'm just saying this is not a surprise for the genre you were going into. So if you only figured this out 3.5 years later, that's not good. Do you guys not know what you're doing over there? Unreal.
Here's the thing. Like, I'm just going to speak personally. Like, I think this sucks because I know people were really, really amped for this online mode for The Last of Us, right? What was it called? Factions? Or it was supposed to be called Factions?
They're calling it The Last of Us Online.
Right. I couldn't care less. I don't play online multiplayer much, and I actually would much rather that they focused on the single player stuff because that's the stuff I'm more interested in. So selfishly, I don't care, but I know people are. But at the same time, it rubs me the wrong way that part of the reason that you can't do this is because you're remaking a 3-year-old game.
Right. Remaster.
You know what I mean? Like it is all about the money, right? And I get it. Businesses are in the business of making money, and that making a remastered Last of Us Part 2 makes financial sense because no matter how old it isn't, people are still going to pay for it, as evident by people who just jump up and down giddy about that.
Well, there were so many PS4 remasters of PS3 games people bought a year later.
Yeah, people are still buying Skyrim.
Let's say Grand Theft Auto 5, Tomb Raider,
Yeah.
The Last of Us, they all remastered within a year of release. And no one was mad about that then. And
that's because people keep buying it for no reason other than because it's there.
Mm-hmm.
I want to have a... No, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Go ahead. Okay.
No, after you.
Great podcasting. I wanted to give a shout out to our friend Nindy Nation, friend of the show, because he put it what I think is correct in that this screams tax write-off.
Without a doubt.
Why else wouldn't you just release it as is and be like, hey, we're not supporting it. It's just a multiplayer mode. It's $40 or $50. Have fun. You know? The only reason you cancel it is because you think you're going to make more from the tax write-off than you are releasing it. Which doesn't make any sense because I think you could put out a Last of Us only multiplayer game for $40 or $50 and sell millions of copies.
Or do what other companies do and like just outsource your online stuff.
Yeah, that's another thing. Why couldn't just have a small team that shepherds the direction of this and then you have a satellite studio actually do the development. You have Naughty Dog make the base game, right? And then you have another team like Toys for Bob makes Call of Duty maps that are identical to the rest of Call of Duty. There's no support studio that can do that for Last of Us.
Yeah,
their excuse is lousy. It's terrible. It's really bad.
Or this other company that Sony owns that does multiplayer stuff that isn't doing anything right now.
Oh, wait, who are we referring to? Sorry.
Wow, I just had a brain fart at I was going down the path.
Oh, you're
Bungie.
Oh, sure. Well, yeah. And if those leaks are true about Bungie saying like the Last of Us Online isn't long term serviceable or whatever, the report that came out, like, well, I don't think Bungie should get to make that call, right? They can't even make their own, profit.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, so Sony specifically bought a studio to do online multiplayer stuff, and they're not doing anything.
Yeah, I think Sony might have got a lemon on that one,
without a doubt. I will agree with Scott. I'm kind of glad they aren't doing anything with the multiplayer, because I remember when Call of Duty was just campaigns, like back in the PS2 era.
Well, I think they always had multiplayer.
Yeah, but it was like localized multiplayer.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe the console ones. You're right, but like the first Call of Duty had. I remember it was on G4 back in the day. Call of Duty 1 multiplayer matches.
But as time has progressed, it's with your most recent review, it's nothing but a sad shell of a campaign.
You're absolutely right, but I don't believe in this world where they can't. They're obviously already had those single player games in the works anyway. I just wish it's like the Alan Wake 2 we can't do physical thing where it's like you're just lying. Like, I don't understand. Like, you could just shoot straight with us. We're all adults here. You could just say, "Hey, look, we're trying to save some money."
I mean, it's not like they're short on cash, right? They can't be short on cash, can they?
Certainly
they
not
could.
Naughty Dog, right? I'm pretty sure Sony just gives Naughty Dog a blank check, I imagine, right?
You would think that they could probably get some publisher money too, if they were really in a pinch, couldn't they?
I mean, and also, why do we live in a world where you can't just release a multiplayer game anymore?
Because there's so much competition.
It's got to. Well, that's what I'm saying. But so the only way you can compete is by providing years of content to a game.
Apparently, because I mean, think about what multiplayer games were back in like the PS3 and the Xbox 360 era. For like, I remember how angry I was that there was a multiplayer component in BioShock 2. Of all the games out there, like, why do we need a multiplayer thing? And I feel like that was kind of what was the MO of that time period, was multiplayer things were a thing you just tacked on as a bonus. It wasn't like the focus. It was a mode that was in there that you could play, have some fun with, and move on. And that doesn't make sense in today's model, because we are slowly moving towards where this games as a service type of thing. I mean, look what's happening with Fortnite. Fortnite isn't just Fortnite anymore. Fortnite is now Psyonix and is it Red Octane? What I can't think of the name of it. Harmonix. Thank you. Where did Red Octane come from? Holy cow. You know what I mean? They've got these games built inside of Fortnite. So they're just expanding the game that already exists instead
Lego
of making
Fortnite.
something new. Well, Lego Fortnite too, yeah, it's all part of it. Which I haven't touched any of that. I'm not knocking that. I just feel like the whole multiplayer dynamic is changing.
But the flip side of that coin is that there's not enough room for all these games to survive, right? Not even Destiny can compete anymore. Or you know, what is competing that is not Fortnite or Roblox to that level? Call of Duty Warzone? That's about it, right?
That probably, yeah. Apex was doing well for a while.
Yeah, and I still think it's doing well.
It's still doing solid numbers.
Yeah, but it's just the market can't. You can't have 15 games out there that are a full-time job. It's just not possible.
The difference with The Last of Us, though, I think, is that it is such a massive IP, especially with the TV show released, like more people know about it. It probably could have been more successful than we had expected, just because of its popularity.
Again,
you know what I mean?
I think 3-4 million people easily would have bought a $40, $50 multiplayer only Last of Us game.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna sound stupid here for a second. Is Battlefield still a thing?
Yeah, well, Vince Zampella is trying to resuscitate the brand.
Because I remember for the longest time, like, that was the big shooter for, like, war combat.
Well, there was that one that came out, 2142, right? That came out a couple years ago and shipped and so rough at state it didn't even have leaderboards. But I think they got Vince Zampella as like shepherding the franchise right now, trying to get it back to.
That's how how far removed from those I am anymore. Because I'm like, God, is Battlefield still even a thing? I do wish though that more, if you're gonna put a multiplayer game in it, do small things. Like I loved the multiplayer in Assassin's Creed Brotherhood.
Oh yeah,
it was a small, condensed little multiplayer game that you could play with your friends. It was a lot of fun, and it wasn't big.
And you know what was nice? If I wanted to play a match 6 months later, I could because it hadn't entirely changed.
Yeah. I'm of the mindset if it's not broke, don't fix it. That was kind of why I liked the Gears online stuff better, because I was perfectly fine playing those maps over and over again. I was having so much fun with my friends.
Now,
you know what I mean?
Like I will say, there's something cool about the live service thing. When I was playing Fortnite somewhat regularly a couple years ago, it was cool how the map evolved and changed. And while you're in it, it is neat. But then if you stop playing for 3 weeks and come back, and the game is you're so far behind now that it's basically pointless.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just, I don't know.
I mean, that's brilliant from a marketing standpoint, right? It keeps you on the pulse of whatever's going on.
Right. You can't afford to miss it.
Right. From a social standpoint.
Exactly. Yeah. So I get that.
Yeah.
But I just think I think this sucks. I think their excuse is lazy and doesn't make sense if you think about it for more than 1 second. It's not even like a tinfoil hat conspiracy moment. It's just like none of what you're saying makes any sense.
Right.
In order to add DLC to a live service game, you need to shift the other 1,000 employees you have onto it.
They have 1,000 employees?
I don't know if that's a true number.
Oh.
I know Bungie does, right? So I just assumed it's probably not that many, but hundreds of employees over.
Right.
That just doesn't make any sense.
Or you can't afford more employees? Like, that's...
Or again, like CB was saying...
There's plenty of them out there looking for work right now.
Get a satellite studio on it, like CB was saying. It's just there's 1,000 answers to this problem that you're claiming is there, but it's just because how better you look incredible by saying, "Hey guys, we had to cancel multiplayer because we need to keep doing what we do." You know, give you the best single player games in the world.
So it's the best positive spin they could put on it to make themselves look good.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, like CB and I both said, even if it's a BS answer, I like it. Because I want them to make single player games, but that's also But that's what I'm saying. It's working. That is what I want. What is me as a Naughty Dog consumer wants to hear. That you're not going to make multiplayer games anymore. You're going to make single player games that I'm more interested in. In
just
playing.
Keep doing what you're doing. Pull an Infinity Ward or Treyarch. Have them do the others.
Yeah.
Also, do they expect us to believe that they were really in pre-production this entire time?
How long has it been? 3 years? 4 years?
Yeah. They said they started it when The Last of Us Part 2 came out. So a minimum of 3.5 years.
So they can't afford more staff, but they can afford to lose 3 or 4 years of salary.
Yeah.
See, right there. That's 3 to 4 years of wasted money.
Mm-hmm.
And so now they're like, oh God, this is a lot deeper than we thought it was going to be. Abandon ship before it gets worse.
It took you three. If you guys really didn't start development like you're claiming that it was in pre-production, you spent 3 years to figure out that you have to support a live service game.
Right.
That's some pretty terrible studio management, man.
And there's not enough there that you could just release, like you said, like a $40 standalone, no longer live service, just multiplayer thing that you can give people to play to recoup some of those expenses.
But we could build more guitaring in Last of Us 2 remastered.
Yes, of course. Yeah. In-depth guitar tutorial.
We started. We got to move on.
I'm sorry. He's got about 500 employees, by the way, just to clarify.
How many?
It was 500.
500. Okay. All right. So I want to talk about this trailer for this game, Mouse. I believe.
Yeah, let's bring it back up, huh?
Yeah, I think Michael Bonovich shared this in our community. It's coming to Steam in 2025. It is a first-person shooter set in what looks like old-timey cartoons, think like Cuphead style, but it is a violent first-person shooter, black and white, old animations. It looks outstanding. I'm kind of bummed it's only coming to Steam.
blend Cuphead with Bendy. And that's what this reminds me of.
Something in the ink machine? Is that what
Yep,
it is?
Bendy and the Ink Machine.
Yeah. I'm all in for this. It's a bummer we're over a year away for this game at this point because I want to play it right now. But it looks great.
Much like if Monster Hunter or GTA had said 2024, I would have looked at it and been like, no, it's not.
You don't think it's coming out in 2025?
No, I think it is. I'm saying if they had said it's coming next year, I would be like, no, it's not.
Gotcha.
It's not coming. You would be lying. So I'm glad that they were honest with us.
Yeah.
I'm glad that people are getting more realistic with release dates. That's what I'm saying. I'm very excited about that.
The only thing that would have got me more excited for this trailer is if it actually featured Disney characters. Because I mean, they look like the old school Disney animations, like the dogs with the floppy ears, like the giant black nose at the end of their face. Kind of, it feels classic Disney. I'm not talking like, huh?
Is Steamboat Willie public domain yet? Can we go blow up his
The
boat?
original Mickey Mouse is now public domain, so yes, he can be Winnie the Pooh, blood and honeyed.
Not till 2024, I heard. Mickey Mouse is not public domain until next year.
Oh, then so he could be a boss. Steamboat Willie can be a boss battle.
That would be amazing if they could pull that off. That's probably why it's not available till 2025, right? Because they're going to
just make sure they're in the legal free and clear.
Yeah.
I think this game looks incredible, man. It looks like a nice, fresh idea. It looks super cool. Like the part of the trailer where he powers up and just his finger pointer gun becomes a weapon.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's wonderful. Yeah, it's just a lot of charm. I think by the time we get to 2025, it'll probably be releasing alongside consoles as well.
Oh, I hope so.
I think it's going to get some excitement behind it.
I agree. I think that trailer did a good job of whetting people's appetite and getting them excited for it.
I think those more indie focused publishers like Devolver Digital, like this is something they would eat up, right?
Oh yeah,
yeah,
because they could have a heyday with that making. Because they're all about the uber violent, like gratuitously violent stuff. Not that this is gratuitous, but this just seems like it feels like it should have come from Devolver Digital.
Yeah, I think that's right. It's right in their wheelhouse. Let's get it going, man. I would buy the hell out of this game on console.
Totally. Well, I do also want to mention this Luigi thing because I didn't even know this was a thing. We've all played Mario 64, and there is like some old VHS footage, which is being suspected to be like behind closed doors stuff at Nintendo back in the day, and it's only a brief moment. Did you guys watch the video by chance?
Yeah.
It's seriously like 4 seconds, if that. You can see Mario and Luigi you can see Mario from Mario 64 standing there, and Luigi comes in and does like some kind of spin attack. And so apparently Luigi was going to be in the game, and it was supposed to be a multiplayer mode in the game because Mario was in the same shot. Luigi was never in the original game, but a playable character of him was in the DS version, which I've never played. I've heard that version is terrible. You guys played the DS version?
Yeah, I own it. It's not good.
Yeah, there's no analog stick on the DS, right? If I remember correctly, there was like a touchpad for the analog stick, which is exactly the way you want to play.
There's that little D-pad on the left side.
On the 3DS, there is, not on the DS.
Oh no, on the original silver DS, yes, there is.
Are you sure?
There's a what on the DS?
Own one.
Okay, I owned one, and I don't remember.
No, I'm not owned one. I own one, and I still use it on a regular basis.
Okay, gonna have to look it up. I don't remember there being a stick on it.
There's the AB, there's the D-pad, and I'm pretty sure.
No, I'm looking at a DS. No,
you're right. It was introduced on the 3DS. I apologized.
Whoa.
Suck it, nerd.
Did you?
I did say. I said I apologize. Like, you're right.
No. Hey, you're right is not. I'm sorry.
That is as much of an apology as he's going to get for giving away an E3 statue. Still mad to this day.
It wasn't even yours yet. I was just planning to give it to you.
You said, "Hey, I got you something," and sent me a picture. And then the next day, you're like, "I gave it away."
But what he did was for the Gaming Outsider.
Yeah,
you can't blame him for that.
It was for the greater good, man.
We are the Gaming Outsider. He's just Scott Clark.
Anyway, there's a quote from Miyamoto, because he was talking about, this is from years ago, he had said in the past that they were toying with Luigi as a playable character in the game, but pulled it. This is the exact quote. Ultimately, due to memory issues, we had to take him out. Then we were going to include him in a Mario Bros. Style mini game, but because most users probably only had that one controller when they first bought their N64. For that reason and others, we decided not to. Although that would have been a brilliant, unquote, that would have been a brilliant way to get people to buy another controller, wouldn't it?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm glad. I am happy it was not a multiplayer game.
I don't know how you would do Super Mario Bros. You know the one with the pipes and the turtles and the crabs in 3D.
No, you just make it 2.5D. Just turn it on the side.
Guess. Anyway, I just thought that was kind of a fun story. The thought of Luigi being in Super Mario 64, which like it never really struck me as a kid. Like, where's Luigi? You know, Yoshi was there
because
for
Luigi
you
was
got
for
all
your
100.
brother.
Yeah, that's true. But it wasn't a multiplayer game.
He was collecting Mario's mail.
That's $1,000 door, and I can't wait to replay that game. All right, well, that's the week's news. Let's go ahead and quickly remind everybody about Patreon. If you aren't already, I would hope that you would consider supporting us on Patreon. That's how we pay for each of these episodes, the website, all that good stuff. And we got different tiers. At the $1 tier, you get the early access to our episodes. And at the $3 and $5 tiers, you can get 1 or 2 episodes, respectively, bonus to you that where we kind of just do some fun things as extra bonus episodes. CB, can you let everybody know what is available for them to listen to right now?
Well, Desert Island Games series with Jay Henry.
Yes, Jay Henry, not Paul Hine. I put the wrong name on the original post the other day.
Good job.
I had Jay's picture, but I left Paul's name on it. And I was kind of, it's fixed now, but sorry about that, Paul and Jay.
And then also Break the Seal with Super Mario RPG with the man himself, Kevin Honigford.
David Newman also joined that one as well.
Oh, but his name is not mentioned here, so I can't.
I know. He was added at the last minute, and I forgot to add his name on the format.
Just forget names, man. That's what you do.
Yeah. We don't know what we're going to do for January at this point, so
I keep trying to get you over to play some old games, man.
I'm trying to keep up with my new games, man. So one of these days, I got a couple of weeks coming off here. Let's take one day, and we just plan on knocking something out for Patreon for January. How about that?
Sounds good.
Gaming, a retro outsider. You come up with a theme, you put together a stack of games, and we'll play them.
Dude, man, I got 3 or 4. I'm just waiting for you to show up, play some games with me.
All right, let's do it. Again, if you'd like to help out, the website is patreon.com/thegocast, and we really would appreciate the support. With that, let's go ahead and jump into the new games that we've been playing. All right, Zach, I think last week I said this was the smallest list of new releases I had seen since we started doing this podcast, and then you just decided to beat it this week.
That's right. I had to show you up. Coming out this week, Rail Break, a rail shooter coming to PS5, Xbox Series consoles, and PC, December 22nd. Changeling Tale, which it looks like a furry visual novel, coming to PC, December 27th. And then Metal Mind comes to Xbox Series consoles and Xbox One, December 28th. That's it. That's all I could really find, man. CB, what from this list do you think is calling your name, man?
Sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry to the developers of these. Like none really grabbed my attention.
Yeah, I mean it's not a good time to. Everyone's mind's elsewhere, right? In this day and age, you know.
Yeah, it's
pretty much.
Or in this several week, not this day and age. Anyway, Scott, what about you? Anything calling your name?
Well, yeah, I think that Dave the Diver looks really great.
Yeah,
I think I'm going to check that one out. I also Spider-Man 2 looks really good.
There's no chance you're playing that.
And Assassin's Creed Mirage.
Definitely not getting there.
Nah, there's no way you're playing that.
So yeah, those. No, actually, Metal Mind of these 3 intrigues me. It looks kind of roguelike-ish. Isometric. It looks like my kind of game. I'm going to be straight. I'm not going to play it. There's just too much between the games I just mentioned. I've got Avatar coming in the mail that we're doing for a giveaway, but I want to play it. I got that coming. I got the Metal Gear Solid collection here. The Assassin's Creed collection that you just talked about. I would love to dive into that.
Ben,
that is one of the things I missed. I didn't do as well this year on my New Year's resolution was playing one game a month for me.
Mm.
Not, I think I hit like 8 of them instead of 12 of them. So at least so far. And I'm not gonna cheat and fire up Super Mario Brothers really quick and just you know what I mean?
Just play an hour
Did
of it
it.
just to say you did.
Yeah, I'm not gonna.
I think if you were to boot up Assassin's Creed 2, I think you would find it difficult to put down.
Yeah,
I think so.
it's really tempting. That's really tempting.
Yeah.
All right.
I guess for me, I would say Rail Break, but I'm also not going to play any of these.
Yeah.
In the spirit of the weekly game, I got to pick one.
Yeah. We were talking about this before we started recording. Like this is just like this has become the summer doldrums time of year. Like after Game Awards, because nothing is in contention anymore, and everybody wants to be considered for 2024's. You know what I mean? List of games.
Well, yeah, it is
This-
a shame. Like, if you actually want your game to be recognized, it's not worth releasing in December.
Mhm.
Sucks.
I don't know. It
Get
feels like
forgotten.
I still feel like it's going to be a prime real estate for a time when nothing else is coming out. That's the best time to release a game, right? That didn't they just push back Alone in the Dark because it was like
Yeah,
going to be
March,
releasing like the same week as whatever what else is coming in the February? I think it
Well,
was.
February's got like 19 games coming.
Yeah. So
Oh, well. What about CB? I know you're a big Power Wash guy.
Yeah.
I played some Power Wash Simulator. Not for me, but I know it's for you. So
And
much
me.
you've been playing. And you, Scott, of course. Sorry. Apologies. That Power Wash Simulator VR, playing it on your Quest, is it the same thing? Can you get wet when you're playing it?
If somebody throws some water on you, I guess.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Scott, you
Yeah?
need to do yourself a favor.
what's that?
You need to pick up your Oculus Quest. and play
Oh, it's
this.
that good,
Dude, it's stellar.
man.
I've determined that there is a limit on how long I can keep my head in a VR headset.
Oh, really? You've been enjoying it that long that you've like reached
Over the
that
past 3
point?
days, I've logged close to 30 hours.
Oh my god!
Dude, it's
literally
really
been in another
good.
world. He's been in the Animus.
I legitimately started playing this yesterday. Like, popped on my headset because I'm like, no kids, no wife, nothing. I put it on and I had my headphones on. I didn't realize how much time had passed. It was dark.
So what's it like when you're in there? Like, what's the longest stretch that you were in the headset without like taking it off?
13 hours.
No, I mean without taking it off at all, like to go to the bathroom or anything.
You forget with a Quest that you can get up from your stationary and it
Wait.
turns the cameras on.
Wait, you take your headset to the bathroom with you?
I didn't bother taking it off.
Oh boy.
No way.
He was power washing in his bathroom.
Dude, if you're taking a poop, you can sit there and just reset to stationary mode and keep
Now
playing.
I have a visual that I did not.
You
I
I
are welcome.
really,
It's a pretty funny visual.
man,
Um
you can't be bothered to take the headset off. You had it on for 13 hours straight.
yeah. My left eye hurts right now.
Oh my god, dude!
Dude, it's really good. Because
I don't care. 13 hours
for one of the first times, well, and I only really had to get up and go pee once. For one of the first times ever for a VR game, like the thumbsticks actually function as moving forward instead of that stupid teleporting.
Oh, okay. So you actually move around in
Yeah, dude, it's
1-to-1.
It's great, and you can actually switch whether you want to go to teleport or just standard moving.
Why would you want to teleport in a game like that?
Every now and then there's like that one spot that you just can't get to. You can be like, oop, teleport, stand there.
Okay.
It's the same game. It's the exact same game.
So you've bought this game now twice. Oh no, because it was on Game
I've
Pass.
bought it 3 times.
Well, it was on Game. You bought it on Xbox, even though it was on Game Pass.
Because I bought it before it hit Game Pass.
Oh, okay.
Then I bought it on Switch. And I bought it on VR.
Did you buy the DLC?
Yeah.
Is the DLC on the VR version? Like, can you play the
not
Final
yet,
Fantasy?
but it is
and-
coming. It is coming.
Okay.
Dude,
That might be
it's-
worth it just to be able to get a 360 view of like the Final Fantasy stuff, like
Or-
Cloud's bike.
Dude, it's so good. because the problem is there's no like when you play it on a console, like there's no scale.
Mm-hmm.
When you play it in a VR headset, it's awesome.
That's a good point. Croft Manor probably looks huge.
Like the Ferris wheel that you can power on and like just sit down and ride a Ferris wheel in VR.
Oh yeah, I forgot. I remember seeing you play that section of it on Xbox, but like it's gonna be like a 360 simulator.
Yeah, it's really good because there's the amusement park, right? There's the carousel. But it's so interesting because there's so many things that you miss not playing this in VR.
What do you mean?
Like just the ambiance noise. Like I was in one of the areas cleaning and I didn't realize. Did you ever notice the gnomes?
Yeah.
Okay, there's more of them than you think.
Okay.
Because like you're in VR, you're looking around and you just see like this little pointed hat off in the distance, and there's a gnome staring at you in the distance. Like there's all kinds of weird stuff like that, or like a gnome will randomly like fall behind you. But
okay.
I know the ending to Power Wash VR.
There's a story in Power Wash VR?
Yes, there is.
Oh, okay.
There's a very bizarre ending to Power Wash VR, which I'm super excited to get there because I know what the final level is and it's massive. So I've got 2 levels left and I'll have finished the game.
Okay.
But what's
30
crazy
hours?
is, dude, I'm just walking around in this because it's such an interesting experience seeing, like, because again, like you're playing it on a small screen, like, or a fixed screen, like you don't have that sense of depth or scale. So, and
Right.
I didn't even realize when I played it through on the Xbox, I had bought like the upgraded, all the upgraded stuff. I never used it. In this, like, it's like there's the standard pressure washer, there's the heavy duty, the professional one. In this one, like using the different ones makes a wild, like, it makes your life easier. But again, you, like I said, because you don't realize the depth and like the verticality and all the scale to it, you don't realize like how big some of these maps are.
I'm not. I guess I can't wrap my head around that because I understand when I'm playing a game on a flat screen. I understand its size, like so. What is VR giving you?
It's giving you like a real life to scale size. Like that's the thing, is you're standing there now looking through your own eyes and like you can look up and be like, oh man, this is a lot bigger than I remember.
So
like that,
you get
the
like
treehouse, the treehouse level.
Mm-hmm.
That thing is humongous.
Okay.
Because like you
get-
can actually now walk around like scale to size to you. It's mind blowing, like how much bigger it seems.
So you were recommending Power Wash Simulator VR?
If you have a VR headset like the Quest 2, whatever, buy this game. Like it's phenomenal.
Yeah, if you want to be in a headset for 13 hours straight without ever taking it off.
It was one of the first days that I had with no responsibilities. I'm gonna do it my way, and I did.
Why don't you just like go get an actual power washer?
I
And,
have
you know,
one,
That's,
but I can't go power wash a Ferris wheel. That's
I know,
like
but,
insanely dirty.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I love the game.
Shut
too,
up,
but
lawn mowing simulator boy.
Can we get that in VR?
I'm willing to bet with the power wash simulator, like, because from what I've heard, like I know other people that have bought it, they're loving it. I'm willing to bet those simulator games are going to start making a jump into VR.
I mean, if that goes to VR, at that point, I would just go start a lawn mowing business for real. Like, why pay money to do it? You know what I mean? Like,
but it kind of makes sense to move some of those games over. Like, there's the car mechanic simulator one. They're not insanely complex games.
Like a PC building simulator.
PC building simulator one. Chair simulator.
Shut up. Come on. Anyway, I'm glad you're enjoying it, man. I don't think I'm gonna pick it up.
I think you really need
in
to try
VR.
it.
I'll try it on yours just to get an idea of what it's like, but I don't need to spend that much time in a VR headset. Like, I'll just go power wash for real.
No, you don't lie to me.
I love power washing.
Dude, and there's force feedback on the controller.
Yeah, but it doesn't make your hands numb and tingly like an actual
when
power
that
washer
thing
does.
constantly vibrates for a long time. Yes, it does.
How quick do those batteries go?
So that's actually a really good point.
Uh-huh.
So like I said, I've been putting a ton of time on this thing. The single AA batteries in my controllers for my Oculus Quest, I have not had to change them. They're still going.
The originals?
No. Like I popped in a fresh set
Uh-huh.
because I hadn't touched my VR headset for probably like a little over a month.
And you've put 30 hours into this game.
Dude, they're still going. Like, I'm waiting for these things to die. I've had to charge my headset like 5 or 6 times or just sit there with it plugged in.
Huh. That's
But,
weird.
yeah, dude, it's... I thought Assassin's Creed Nexus was going to be my VR game of the year. Nope. This one.
Power Wash Simulator VR is your VR game of the year.
Which means I could put Power Wash Simulator into contention for game of the year again.
Yeah, I mean, nobody else is going to vote for it, but sure, have some fun, man. Go for it.
If I put
Nobody
it
else has
one,
played
that
it.
means 10 points.
Good. I don't think you're going to do that.
Probably not.
All right.
But
I got another review for you guys. I sat down with Rel to talk about his time with a game called Trinity Fusion, and I recommend you check it out because that game is not what we thought it was going to be, and we're going to play that review for you right now. Well, hello there, Rel. Long time no see. How you been?
I am fantastic. I accomplished home stuff.
Yeah, welcome to adult. Adulting sucks, doesn't it, man?
Yes. If there's any kids listening, and there should be, don't become an adult. Avoid it at all costs.
Stay a kid as long as you can. Enjoy it while you can, because become an adult. Remember, like when we were kids and we were like always looking for things to do. Like, man, I'm bored. I am bored. I miss being bored.
Yeah.
Anyway, you are here not to complain about being an adult for 20 minutes, but you're here to talk about a game that you've been checking out for us called Trinity Fusion from Angry Mob Games, and it was provided to us by Evolve PR. Now, Roy, you and I have been talking about this in a little bit off air, and I'm really intrigued because I think both of us thought this game was one thing, and it wound up being something completely different. Can you explain to everybody what that means?
Yeah, so it was sort of a thing where we both kind of got the impression that it was maybe a roguelike Metroidvania, but it's more like sci-fi Dead Cells. Like, that's the elevator pitch I can give to people.
That you've made the sale. I think we can just stop the recording right there. Sci-fi Dead Cells. I am on board. Sign me up.
I'm not going to say I love anything sci-fi, and in fact, despite the prevalence of, like, you know, Halo and Call of Duty modern-ish warfare and things like that, Titanfall, I don't feel like the sci-fi genre gets enough love in enough video game genres.
Okay, I was going to say there's like sci-fi horror everywhere right now.
Right. But it's like sci-fi horror and sci-fi shooters, and that's kind of it, unless you want to get into cyberpunk, which I feel like is its own thing. So sci-fi blank, I'm in. You got my attention. That said, like I said, Trinity Fusion is very much akin to a sci-fi Dead Cells. It's got that 2D platforming, action, hack and slash type of gameplay where you are exploring the world and trying to find power-ups, kill enemies along the way. You might run into some shops. There's teleporters, of course, that will help you zip around the current map, and you are eventually going to find the end and go on to the next area, run into bosses, either win and proceed or die horribly and start the run over. You know how it goes.
Exactly.
Now, the one thing, I had some issues with this game. I feel like they did, and I don't like the term compliment sandwich because it's not actually a good thing, but the good things about this game, the developers really did nail the gameplay loop. It feels very good to play. The dodging is prompt. You do feel like you can really run rings around the enemies once you get the timing down.
Sure.
And I feel like they do have a good balance of, okay, you've been going for a little bit, here's a power up, you've been going for a little bit, here's an interesting thing to interact with, you've been going for like secrets, shops, things to improve yourself, new weapons. And I think they do get that really well. Like, I did feel compelled to play another run.
Mhm.
However, what I feel like they missed on is depth of systems. And let me kind of explain what I mean by that.
Okay.
The power-ups that you get in this game, the most prevalent ones, besides just weapons, because like Dead Cells, you'll pick up a lot of new weapons, and a lot of them are just like melee weapons with different ranges or swing speeds, as well as damaging, and then higher level weapons you will eventually get that have additional effects, like, this one does acid damage, this one on the last hit will freeze an enemy, which is very powerful.
Mm-hmm. It wasn't
But-
Dead Cells.
Yeah. But you also get amplifiers, which are effectively like permanent buffs, which most of them I found were very situational. Like, get a damage buff when you're at max health, or get a damage buff when you're at, 30% health for glass cannon type runs. Freeze or stun an enemy if you perfect dodge their attack. Get like very short duration attack boost when you use a consumable item. And it just kind of felt like there wasn't much point to it, because sort of the way that it works is each of these amplifiers has a corresponding color. Red is attack and green is healing and yellow is crit. And once you get 3 of a particular color, like 3 red or 3 yellow, that will fill up that bar and give you another like additional bonus amplifier that can be more impactful. But all the other ones in the interim just kind of feel really meh. I think I counted maybe 5 total amplifiers that I've found so far, because I found about 55 or 60 or something like that based on stats. 5 or so that I would always want to take, and then all the rest of them were either, well, sure, maybe, and then 2 of them were never take under any circumstances, because they actually can make your run worse.
Wow. I mean that's kind of like how a lot of roguelikes go. Like, I feel like there's weapons I just actively avoid. Are you saying that happens just too often?
Yeah, and I think part of it is that these things don't synergize with each other. So, like, I'm going to throw out a few popular roguelike names here, with Hades in particular, because this game does take from Hades in the sense that as you progress further and die more, you unlock more of the story and gradually uncover the whole history behind everything that's going on, and, backstories of characters and whatnot. But with Hades, you could like get brand new boons that would change how you played. Like,
Okay.
I think about how, like, Zeus boons, for instance, your dash would suddenly have a lightning strike attached to it, so you would want to just dash around a lot. Another one would increase the size of the electrical lightning bolts that got zapped down. So all of a sudden, your dashes are like just giant explosions of electricity, and then combine that with Poseidon boons, and you can have this ridiculous dash-based run where you don't even have to use your weapon.
Mhm.
And with Trinity Fusion, you don't really get that. The affinities or the amplifiers that you get don't really seem to synergize with each other. There's like a few that are based on perfect dodging attacks, but they are mainly focused around debuffing an enemy or giving them a status effect. But there's not a lot of amplifiers that just straight up give you bonus damage or give you bonus effects for hitting enemies affected by status effects.
See, I think that Zack would like that better. Zack is very much against the, this weapon does +3 damage, or this armor does, this many saves me this many hit points or whatever. I think, and I've always been trying to sell Zack on roguelikes. I've been successful a couple times, but usually I fail. This sounds like one that would make more sense for him, and but not for you and me.
Maybe, and I think it's less about does this make me hit harder, and more, is there really much of a benefit to picking this up to begin with?
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, for instance, let's say the one where you get bonus damage when you're low on health. Unless you're planning to be low on health, and unless there's something in the game...
I've never taken those. I never take those.
Right.
Ever.
That just kind of enables that, where it's like a challenge mode, and you want to take those amplifiers to kind of buff yourself. It doesn't really help that much.
Right. Yeah.
I do also want to talk about, because this game is based on the multiverse. And the whole conceit behind this is that humanity has, like, plumbed the multiverse, and they've kind of sectioned off 3 different worlds. One is entirely, like, art and music based, where all the artsy types hang out. One is the engineering place, where they just continuously create new and more awesome machines. And then one is like the high technology place or whatever. And so and then there's the prime world, which is where everybody just enjoys all the fruits of their labor. And the whole idea is the multiverse is completely borked, and it is your job to unbork it. And you do this with the help of Maya's 3 alternate selves. And this kind of ties into what I'm talking about, where things are not very impactful. The 3 alternate selves are mostly the same. They're about 85% the same. The only difference is, they all start with melee weapons. One of them starts with a gun. One of them starts with basically magic type abilities. Uh-huh. And then one of them starts with a slow moving secondary melee weapon. And that's pretty much the main difference between the two. And the thing is...
Are you choosing one of the 3 when you start?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, so you're not just choosing which one to start with, but whoever you start with also determines which world you start at.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, so I forget her name. I wrote it down in the review. I think it was Kira starts in the factory, which is in, like, the engineer world where they build all the machines and whatnot. And it's all really beautiful. I mean, the backdrops in this are really gorgeous, and it really does set the scene and set the tone for each individual world. But so, like, you pick one character, like, say Kira, and then you traverse the first stage, and you can find a device that allows you to merge Kira with, what was her name? Naira. And you gain Naira's, like, secondary ability. So now not only do you have a slow-moving, like, heavy melee secondary, you also have a gun.
Oh, okay.
As well as your melee primary weapon. And so you can, come up with some interesting combos with, defeating enemies.
So you're, like, combining the multiverses, or the characters in the multiverses?
Yeah, the characters in the multiverse. And you can eventually combine all 3. And I haven't managed to get that far yet, because even with essentially easy mode plus reviewer mode, which is like what they call hyper mode, where they just gradually give you more and more damage resistance the more you die. I'm up to 21% damage resistance.
Oh wow. Congrats. Congrats.
Yeah. Congrats. Yeah. But anyway, the whole fusing thing is also just kind of shallow, in that the most you get is another secondary weapon that you can use concurrently, as well as, like, Kira, for instance, does not start with a double jump, but Naira does. So if you fuse with Naira, you regain a double jump. But otherwise,
so which one is the master of unlocking? That's what I want to know.
I guess Maya, because she's the primary. Yeah. But, like, it doesn't super affect your run. It's just you save up 100 currency and you do the fusing, and then you just move on, and it doesn't feel like you've done anything really important or impactful. And I guess that's the issue that I have with it. It's less numbers get bigger and more, how has this really changed things? Why is this meaningful?
why is it meaningful for the pickups or just
for the amplifiers, for fusing the two characters? I mean, getting the double jump back for Kira is nice, but otherwise, I don't know. My impression of it, at least, is that you have fused two of your alternate selves. You should have something more than just one more secondary weapon and possibly re-unlocking the ability to double jump or wall jump. I feel like there should be something more to it, or there should be some greater impact on your run.
Gotcha.
I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm just demanding too much. My overall impression of the game was, this is good, but it could be amazing. And
so
it's
what would
not
make it
there
amazing?
yet. What would make it amazing is if the amplifier system as well as the fusing system had more weight to it, where the amplifier system especially made it more like you are choosing a particular build, kind of like with, boons in Hades, or I'm not going to speak to Dead Cells because I played 10 hours of it when it came out and I never played it again. Or Binding of Isaac, where you're building around a particular strong item, where, let's say, for instance, because most of your power upgrades are coming from your weapon, because your weapon gradually gains strength, and then you find a new weapon, and it's stronger than your old one. Numbers get bigger, plain and simple. Some of them, new weapons, have new abilities, like they deal acid damage, or they'll freeze an enemy, like I said earlier, but otherwise, numbers get bigger.
Right.
If you had amplifiers that, for instance, added status effects to certain other conditions, just gave you a shock attack on your gun, or added combos that you could use with your weapon, because each weapon type does have a couple of bonus combo abilities beyond just mash X win. But if it could unlock, smash attack or an uppercut, or one thing that I thought of was katanas gain the ability to charge your blade and do sword beams, right? Just stuff like that, where you could combo things and make it into an actual run. Because I think about starting a run now, and I kind of realize it's going to be more or less the same as my old run. So once I fully beat the game, I'm just kind of done. Whereas with Hades, once I beat the game, I went back and beat it again and again and again and again. And then I did heat runs, and then I got I did the different builds. All right. Before I get on too much of a rant, what I want to see is more impact and greater diversity of build. Because my mindset when I found an amplifier was, I hope this is the right color, as opposed to, I hope it's this particular effect. Because with Hades, I would always be like, all right, it's another Zeus boon, great. I hope it's that thing that increases damage or gives a shock effect to the lightning, or gives me the dash zap or whatever. But with Trinity Fusion, it's more like, okay, I got 2 reds, I need 1 more red. Okay, good, I got a red. What was the effect of that amplifier? Who knows? Who cares?
Yeah, I think that's the beauty of a good roguelike, is that no matter what is thrown at you, you're still able to make a solid run. It's just you're going to play it a different way, right? It may not be your favorite weapon, but it forces you to try to think outside of your comfort zone, and it's completely doable instead of it just being a luck of the draw for whatever, hope you get a matching weapon or matching item.
Right, and there's elements of that in every roguelike. I mean, Binding of Isaac, for instance, you can just plain old lose runs because you never get any damage upgrades. But a lot of them you can still win because you just make the items work. Hades, you figure out, all right, I picked this weapon, I'm getting these boons, this is what I have to work with, this is how I'm going to have to build this.
Okay.
In this game, it's more, well, I've got this weapon. 5 minutes later, I've got this weapon. It has bigger numbers. I have these amplifiers. I don't know what they do, and it doesn't really matter because I'm just trying to match colors.
So matching colors is more important than even what the immediate effect is.
That part felt, the colors part felt more impactful than the immediate effect, because the only one that I can, like off the top of my head, two of them that were the most impactful, both positive and negative.
Mm-hmm.
Positive, heal 1% of your crit damage. And then this is an actual synergy. 30% increased crit chance when attacking an enemy from behind. That's good. That's a good example of how to do a build. But then everything else just didn't. Most other stuff in the game didn't seem like it fit together.
Right. Okay. So I don't really know how you're going to answer this, but are you recommending it or not?
Well, here's the thing. Maybe I'm just too picky. Maybe I just played 100 hours of Hades and now I'm just a highfalutin snob. But this game is $20 American, $18 with the launch discount. I do think it's solid. I do think it's fun. I just think it can be better. I'm not saying the game is bad. It's not bad. It is not a bad game. It is a good game. But it could be great.
Fair enough.
Like it could be a game that I want to play for 100 hours. Like I mentioned Hades, I want to go back and play Hades. Okay. I don't ever want to play Binding of Isaac. I don't want to play Dead Cells anymore because it's too hard. I'm sorry. But I want to play Hades. I would love to want to play this for 100 hours.
Gotcha. Now, is this early access or is this the final
No,
game?
it is out as of yesterday, December 15th, 2023.
Okay, interesting. Again, that is Trinity Fusion. Rel, thanks so much for checking that one out for us. I'm intrigued. I'm not going to say I'm going to put it at the top of my list because I got so much to play right now, but it's one that I think I'm going to keep in the back burner. It's Steam only right now, right? It's not on console?
It is. Well, okay. As far as I know, it's Steam, and it's, if not already out on console, it is planned for Xbox and PlayStation.
Mm-hmm.
I did not see a Switch version mentioned when I Googled it, but I really hope it can be for the Switch, because I don't have a Steam Deck, and I would like to play a roguelike on the go.
There you go. All right, man. We'll catch you next time. Thanks so much for checking this one out. I do appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. Clear.
Thanks so much, Rel. Appreciate that as always. Want to remind everybody about where you can check out The Gaming Outsider. If you wouldn't mind dropping us a review over on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to episodes, we would appreciate it. Also, our website is thegamingoutsider.com, and we got written reviews there as well. Zack's reviews of Spider-Man 2, as well as Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3's campaign are both on the site, which, by the way, that on Facebook stirred up some comments, Zack. Some people clearly did not click on the article and read the fact that you only played the multiplayer.
Oh, the campaign.
So I actually had to. I actually edited
only played the campaign, not only played the multiplayer.
Well, I realized that in the title of the review, we did not put campaign only. We just put Modern Warfare 3.
I did it in the first text of the review. No,
I know. I'm talking about the actual title. The actual title doesn't say anything about campaign. So I edited that quick, and I edited what I put in the body of the Facebook thing because it appeared like we were talking about the entire game as a whole. Like Modern Warfare 3 is a waste of your time. But people really like the multiplayer, and you fairly, like I said it in the front there. But also, Rel's review of Trinity Fusion, which you just heard about, is on the site, so be sure to check that out again at thegamingoutsider.com. Let's go ahead now and jump into our week's From the Outside In topic. This week's topic comes from our producer, Kevin Honigford, who wanted us to talk about our feelings regarding story elements that are locked behind something like crazy amounts of gameplay, paid DLC, or maybe even a completely other game title that left you in the dark if you had never played it previously. So, I want to ask you guys, what are your thoughts on when games do something like this? Should story be something that's hidden behind laborious hours of gameplay, money, or other titles? Or do you think games should have the main story be self-contained on its very own? I thought this was an interesting topic.
Yeah, I mean, no. Does anybody like this? Really? Like what is the appeal in locking away important storyline through nonsense?
Well, I mean, we've talked in the past, right, about it was always fun having cutscenes feeling like a reward, right, for doing some task. So I could see some enjoyment out of being rewarded by doing something, by getting extra story.
I think it was like a fun little extra, like, oh, this is what this character was up to, or like a quick scene of like teasing a potential sequel or something.
Mm-hmm.
But when you lock the true ending behind some arduous or laborious task, I think that's pretty inexcusable.
Mm-hmm.
Because especially like back in the day, how are you to know?
Yeah, before the internet was as big as it is now.
Yeah, because
What
now
are
it's inescapable.
What are some examples of this being done, or can you think of any examples?
Oh yeah, I got a couple right here.
Oh boy, he pulled out the pad of paper.
Just a few. Well, the first one I remember really annoying me as a youth was Prince of Persia: The Warrior Within. Because it has two endings. It doesn't indicate to you at all that there is an alternate ending, and the alternate ending is the one they used for the sequel, The Two Thrones.
Oh, so if you played the sequel, you would have been completely lost.
So as soon as the first E3 trailer of The Two Thrones dropped, I was like, well, that character's not alive. And then I had to learn, like, oh no, you had to play Warrior Within and get all 9 health upgrades, which are hidden, and you have to kind of go backwards in some areas to get to them. So they're pretty out of the way. And if I'm playing, I don't really care about health upgrades anyway, because I'm fine with the challenge as is. I have a rewind power, what do I care?
Right.
So the health upgrades never really felt important to me. But I guess it was so important that that's where the ending of the game was.
I never knew that one. That's a good pull.
And, dude, it was very frustrating. So much so that I have a printout guide from GameFAQs from a decade ago in my Warrior Thin box, just telling me where to go to get the health upgrades, because they're not very intuitive to find anyway, and I need to make sure I see the real ending every time.
So that ending, you didn't even see the ending until the new game was announced.
No, when the new game was announced and Cainan was still alive. Spoilers for The Two Thrones. It's in the promotional material. I guess it's not really a spoiler.
Yeah.
I was like, well, but she died in Warrior Within. What are you talking about? So then, I had to like learn on the forums or something to go and get these health upgrades to see the real ending. So then I had to replay the game and see not that I minded, because Warrior Within is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just frustrating to have to get those little extras that I didn't care about. It's not a game where you need a health upgrade, really.
Yeah.
But it's essential. Very frustrating. Another one that drives me absolutely batty was Batman Arkham Knight. To see the real ending, you have to 100% the entire game. That one's frustrating because it's the ending of an entire trilogy, and you lock it behind full completion of the biggest Batman game yet. Just hundreds of Riddler trophies to get this ending.
Yeah, and I mean, some people just don't like doing that, man. I had no desire to do the Riddler trophies, and I was a guy that you would think I would be a guy that would do that, right?
Yeah, when I'm a guy who loves the Riddler trophies.
Right.
Yeah, I enjoyed them. That Arkham was on my list too. So
okay, I'm sorry, Jack.
No, you're fine, because
I love the Arkham Asylum and City. There's just so many Riddler trophies in Arkham Knight, and there's so much to do because the game is just massive. That when you beat the game, to then see the ending, well, beat in quotes, but then to go see the ending, you've got to play at least like another 10, 12 hours minimum.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy, dude.
Yeah.
Of mostly, pointing a bat claw at a trophy to pick it up. That's mostly what you're doing. That's just, it's just inexcusable. A couple. I think what Alan Wake 2 is doing is very frustrating with this new Game Plus thing. The final draft. Yeah, I don't want to give too much away, obviously, because it just released. But there's a new ending. I've watched it on YouTube. And so you basically just have to replay 25, 30-hour game to see 11 minutes of new cutscenes. Roughly.
You have to play through the entire game again?
Yes.
Yeah, why wouldn't you just go to YouTube? That's something we didn't have back in Warrior Within days, right?
Absolutely. But I think doing this way behind New Game Plus and Scott, like our feelings on the ending was that it wasn't very good.
Yeah,
it is much clearer.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but in a way where you're like, that's kind of like, I don't know.
That should have been the original.
Yes, and I guess they're trying to play into some plot beats, but that's very frustrating.
Yeah,
and I will admit here publicly that having to collect all the weapons to get the real ending of Nier Replicant is outrageous. It breaks my heart to say.
Wait, it's not a perfect game?
I'm used to it. So to me, it's perfect. I don't care. I'll do the side quests every time. It's fine by me. But I think, and that's how it was in the original, and I think that was fine when it was a hyper niche product.
Mm-hmm.
But now that Nier Automata is a mainstream hit, household name level success, and so when you do your little remake of the first one, it might be worth considering that people don't want to collect every weapon just to see an ending.
Because isn't a lot of those weapons are like just fighting guys and for random drops, right?
No, that's to upgrade them.
Oh.
Most of the weapons are either in a store or are side quest rewards.
Oh,
There are some where you just have to break a random box in a random building to get it. And there's like one in a box like right before the final dungeon that if you don't miss it, you just have to replay the game to get.
Oh,
But at least New Game Plus in that game is only 4 or 5 hours because it starts you back near the end. But it is just like Automata did not have that, and it was like a holdover from Drakengard because the Drakengard games would have additional endings if you collected all the weapons. But to have the actual real ending behind that, I think I can understand why it would be frustrating. Though I have to admit, I'm fine with it. Okay, I'm used to it. It's no big deal for me. But that's frustrating. And then the last one isn't really about a true ending. Sorry, I feel like I'm just going on a tirade here. Is Assassin's Creed 3, because my boy Connor gets a lot of stray bullets online for being boring and stoic. People don't really like Connor. But it's because you didn't play the homestead missions. And those are side missions, and the game doesn't really do a very good job of telling you about them. My understanding is the remaster does a lot better job about pointing you towards them, because they don't really pop up in the map in any significant way, so you kind of have to look for them. But this is where because in the campaign, he is angry and stoic, and he's murdering the men who burned down his village. But in these homestead missions, it's just you and your frontier land, and you like invite people to live there. You like invite a farmer, and you learn how to herd pigs, and you actually hear Connor cracking jokes and living life a little more lightly. Or you kind of help pass love notes between two people because they both have a crush on each other, but they don't know. And it eventually leads in like them getting married years later because the game takes place over years. And it's just all this like beautiful human storytelling of Connor letting his guard down and being more human and like talking to people about how he wants this fight to end so he can live his own life, but he's got to do this first and stuff. And it's just all this wonderful characterization of the main character, but they locked it behind these side quests that they barely tell you exist. And it's so I can't blame people for not liking Connor because of that, but if you do those missions, he's wildly different. You see much more of him.
Interesting. That's your whole list?
That's my list, yeah.
Man, you pulled out that piece of paper, and I just was like, I thought you were going to have a CB length of list.
You're going to sit here for an hour and just go and everything? To everyone out there, play the Assassin's Creed 3 Homestead missions. It's a totally different game if you do.
I'm kind of itching to go back and play old school Assassin's Creed games. Just take a break from
3's the best.
3's really good.
That's my favorite
one. CB, you haven't really chimed in here at all.
Well, yeah, I mean, Zack put it very eloquently. So, no, I hate when studios put true endings behind paywalls. I think it's a douchey thing to do. Granted, as much as having the true hidden endings behind a lot of gameplay, I don't mind it as much. Because there's a slightly different tweak on the ending for Valhalla if you play all the stuff.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that game's already like over 150 hours, right?
All the stuff. Well, I mean, they kind of did the same thing with Odyssey and Origins. Like, if you played the Gods missions and those, there's additional stuff that you can unlock. All the way back to Assassin's Creed 2, if you did all the Subject 16 stuff.
Yeah.
All the Assassin's Creed games have.
I say that the Subject 16 stuff doesn't alter the ending; it just gives you more information going forward.
Yeah. But it definitely fills in the gaps.
Yeah, I agree. I would agree that you're missing a lot of context if you don't do them.
Yeah, but you're not missing like the main big twist in Assassin's Creed 2.
You're not missing the ending.
No, which was the one? Which was the one that had the turn and look at the camera?
2.
Was that 2? Because that if you had to do all that to get that ending, that would be bogus.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's like Arkham Knight levels of nonsense.
Yeah. Or
Anyway.
look at some of BioWare's games. Dragon Age Inquisition. Lots of different endings.
Sure.
Witcher 3, 36 different endings.
But do you have to play Witcher 3 36 times to see all those endings, or is it like you could reload the last save and...
Depends, because some of the endings, like, depending on which missions you did at which time, locks off certain endings.
But it's not as though in The Witcher, there's not like a true ending of The Witcher, right? It's just your ending.
Right. Yeah, it's your ending.
It's like a Quantic Dreams game.
Yeah.
Like the Prey remake.
Mm-hmm.
There's two endings to that game.
Do you have to do something obnoxious to get the other one?
One of them, it ends very abruptly.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, at first I was like, please tell me this is the end, because if you follow one of the paths of the quest, that's the end of the game. And I'm like, this is really obnoxious. It's doesn't wrap anything up. It's like dealing with a Far Cry like secret ending. Don't do anything for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And get that ending. Because some of those are the good endings, some of them are the bad endings.
Yeah, but those are like, that's not the story, right? That's just like a bonus, like, let's see who's paying attention. We're going to try this kind of thing.
But the Prey one comes in the middle of the game. Like, you've already put hours into this game, and it, like, you're like, oh, that was the end? And then you were like, oh, if I don't do this and wait a certain period of time, that happens automatically, and I can continue on to the actual ending of the game.
Well, didn't Automata do that too? I rolled credits on that game a couple times.
I didn't play Automata.
Well, those are just joke endings, though. Those aren't real.
I rolled credits.
I know. I was just saying it's just a fun little goofy thing you can do.
Right.
They're not meant to be taken seriously. One of them is you eating a mackerel, but it turns out it's poisonous to androids, and then it rolls credits.
Right.
It's not a real ending. It's just a jokey little fun bit.
Well, I mean, technically the ending that you can achieve in Prey achieves your goal, but it will probably have a negative outcome in that universe.
Sure.
So to me, I was like, that felt cheap.
These things don't sound frustrating in the way that I was thinking of.
That one did, because at first I thought that was the ending. I didn't play it again for a bit.
Oh, okay.
And somebody's like, that's not the ending.
You just,
I went back and played. Like, I thought that was the end of the game. Because, like I said, I was doing what the game told me to do. I did that.
So you thought your game got rebooted in Arkham Asylum too, right?
No, that one I caught right away. Because I'm like, why is this doing this?
Make sure to push in on the middle stick to avoid Joker's gunfire.
Well, I also had, that was the time period like when a lot of Xboxes were red ringing. So when I thought it red ringed, and I'm like, no, it didn't. Like, what's going on?
Dude, I fell for it in Eternal Darkness. I literally never went back to that game.
Oh, wow.
It told me my memory card was erased, and I was like, well, that sucks. Guess I'm done with that game. And I literally never went back and finished it.
That's brutal.
Yeah,
it's a shame. There was
they made their game very good, very well. Then,
yeah, I know, right? I had no patience apparently in the early 2000s. So,
compared to all the patience you have now,
shut up.
If you play the Red Dead games, those have the endings after the credits.
There's like a whole 12 hours after the credits, and the original Red Dead isn't there.
In neither Red Dead do they roll credits.
Oh, really?
It just fades to black and picks back up.
Huh.
Just to let you know. In my memory, I thought they had rolled credits in the first Red Dead, but it just cuts to you playing as another character. And then when you do that one last thing, it does pop up the credits.
Okay. But I mean, that's...
just letting you know.
Did you ever achieve the Silent Hill 2 ending?
I had not 2. I only played through that once, but I did. I got all the endings in the original Silent Hill, including that ending.
Because there's the bizarre ending in Silent Hill 2.
Or the dog one?
Yeah, the dog.
Of course. Classic video game moment.
There's quite a few people that don't know about that one.
I wonder if there's anybody who got it accidentally and thought it was the real ending. There has to be like a small hand, like 2 people, right, in the world.
The 2 people
who left that game thinking the dog was really behind everything.
Is that how the game ends?
Yeah.
There's like I can't remember how you get that ending. Is it really? It's a 20-year-old
it's definitely
joke ending. But I can't remember how you get it. But yeah, you like
it's
James
really
walks
complex.
And then you walk into a control room, and there's just like a dog sitting at a computer, moving levers with his front little paw.
Specifically, it's a Shiba Inu.
Yeah, and then it's like barks at James, and he just goes, "No, it was you all along," and like collapses.
No way.
Yeah, dude, it's pretty awesome.
That's pretty great. Well,
but that one's hard to achieve.
I want to circle back a little bit because I think the reason that Kevin asked for this topic was because of what Zack talked about last week with the connection between Assassin's Creed Valhalla and Assassin's Creed Mirage, which I didn't even know about until last week. And in Kevin's case, he has not played Valhalla yet. Actually, I think Odyssey. We were talking about this yesterday. I think Odyssey was like his first game in Assassin's Creed.
He had asked me about it because he was like, "Well, isn't this person like a bad guy?" And I'm like, "Not really. It's hard to explain." I'm like, "Did you beat Valhalla?" And he's like, "No." I'm like, "I'm not going to tell you anymore because it ties together with."
So that's the frustrating part for him is he's never played Valhalla, which again, that is over 100 hours at least, right? I've heard some people
to achieve that ending.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's why I put in like 150 hours into it, was to get to that. It is not easy, like, because there's a series of parkour things that you have to do at the very end, which are not easy.
Mm-hmm.
And that unlocks like all the final information.
Yeah, well, that's also surprising because Valhalla, that engine, from what I remember of Odyssey, is really not set up for complicated or interesting parkour.
No, especially when the parkour things that you're seeing are invisible.
Oh, that's really weird to ask that.
Like it's like the outline of boxes that you have to climb, so you can see the edges of the boxes, but not where the actual middle of the boxes are.
And you already have such little control over the parkour in that game already.
Yeah, it was
frustrating.
Not a fun time.
Yeah. So then you go fast forward to Mirage, and if you hadn't done all of that stuff before, you're gonna have vital pieces of information missing.
Yes,
that set up this story. I don't even know if vital is a fair word, right? Because the story stands alone on its own, right?
Mirage?
Yeah. Does it? I don't know.
No,
it doesn't.
No, that's what I was telling you last week. It requires you to know stuff from Valhalla.
Zach has said multiple times, and I know I've brought it up once or twice, like, Mirage was originally a DLC.
Right.
So,
for the first 80% of it or so, it can get away with standing on its own. But then the last 20% is unbelievably confusing if you haven't played Valhalla.
Oh, okay.
And after you know the stuff of Valhalla, if you think back to like that front part of Mirage, like, oh, I was supposed to know this. You can tell based on the way scenes are written or things were framed.
Yeah, it is. You sixth sense your way back and rethought about the scenes that you were seeing before.
And it was extra frustrating because this game is supposed to be, an homage or a callback, right, to the classic games and be one for the original fans. Like, those people probably didn't play Valhalla anyway, or a lot of them.
I didn't. And now I'm kind of like wondering if I want to go through and finish Mirage now.
It's essentially like if you had picked up the Lord of the Rings trilogy, started reading 2/3 of the way through the Two Towers, but expected to know everything that happened in the first book and the first part of that story.
What other games have done that? Because the only thing I can really think of isn't games, but I think of the Marvel Universe because I like the movies, but I don't want to spend the time to watch the shows. All the shows. Like, I watched WandaVision, I watched Daredevil, some of Daredevil. You know what I mean? But like, I feel like the movies that are coming out now require you to have knowledge of some of the Marvel TV shows. You know what I mean? And I don't like that. But
Definitely.
what games do that?
I think Halo in the 343 era is very guilty of this.
Oh yeah, you were talking
Yeah.
about there was like a boss that showed up in Infinite that like was only if you read the books, right?
The main bad guy of Infinite is set up in Halo Wars 2.
Oh, like a completely different genre of game.
Yes. But the one that really annoys me is like the main villain of Halo 4, the Didact, is set up through a series of novels beforehand. But the
Right.
game does not fill you in on any of his story. He's just there.
So how do
he's
they
just-
expect you to know that?
they expect you to have read the books.
Oh, you mean like Star Wars Fallen Order, where we give you this book that you should have read before, but the book was awful?
That book is so bad. I don't think it's as essential as the Halo books were.
But there are story beats that are important.
Yeah. I mean, I agree it helps. I don't think it is as essential. But maybe
I'm
I'm
just
saying
glad
that 'cause
I-
I read it. I don't know.
I'm just glad I don't have to feel as dumb for not understanding what was going on in Halo 4. Because I was like, okay, I'm just going to shoot guys. Like,
Yeah. But
Uh,
I think 343's stewardship of Halo has been poor because of this. Where
Okay.
they seem to they much like the MCU people just seem to think that you've experienced all of it if you've gotten this far. And
Yeah.
just total disregard for maybe the more casual fan of something.
right. And that's the thing is I believe that any game you should be able to pick up and its story should be self-contained enough. You know what I mean? Like now if it were a 2 or something like that or a 3, a sequel,
Mm-hmm.
then it's probably better that you have that, but then give me a recap of what I'm missing from the
Well,
list.
Like, but you could play BioShock 2 on its own.
Uh-huh.
I never played 1.
Right.
Yeah.
But 1 enhances the experience of 2.
Right.
Because they do give you enough information that you can piece together a lot of what happened in 1.
Okay.
But I'm also the kind of person that's not going to jump right into 2. Even if I hadn't played BioShock 1 up to that point, I would have been like, I'm going to hold off on 2. I want to be part of this, but I'm going to go play the first one first.
Well, I guess by that logic, you should have to play Origins, Odyssey, and Valhalla before you play Mirage, right?
Technically, yes.
We're talking about a 12 to 15 hour game versus a 75, 100, 125 hour game.
But Origins, Odyssey, and Valhalla come before 1.
Yeah. I guess the distinction is BioShock having the 2 there, I guess implies that you should play 1, right?
Right.
Whereas
That's-
if you're just Mirage and you're saying, hey, this is for the old fans and all of your marketing, it is pretty messed up to then be like, actually, joke's on you if you didn't play the 90-hour RPG before this.
yeah.
But I mean, Assassin's Creed Origins.
Yeah. Well, sure. I haven't played that game. I don't really think about that.
But it also doesn't say, I guess, can't make that argument. I don't know. There's something about the numbered sequel that makes me say I need to see the other one first.
It's a shame you can't play Final Fantasy 16 until you play 1 through 15 first.
Well, that's the exception, the obvious exception. But did you have any others on your list, CB, or should I
No,
mine?
go ahead.
The first one that jumped to my mind was Chrono Trigger, because there was I don't even remember how many different endings there were. Is it 12 or 15 different endings to that game?
Like 12, I think.
And it's not like some of them you had to replay the whole game again to make different choices all in the end game. Or I don't remember. I remember not liking that. Like I like this game a lot, but I don't like it enough to play it again right away to see other endings. And that was in the 90s, back before you could probably the internet was a thing, but it wasn't like you could just YouTube
But
the ending.
Chrono Trigger was more achievable because when it originally came out, some kids didn't have other games, so they just kept replaying it and making different decisions.
Yeah, now we just go through games. There's just so many, right?
Yes.
It's also a kid thing too. Like we get, kids are, at least us as kids. We had games, then we had to make them stretch them, make them last. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nowadays they just, they're just given.
Well, yeah.
Everything.
Now they're free and they require your full time and attention.
Yeah, exactly.
So you've got no excuse not to play it all day, every day.
Yeah. The other one that stood out to me, and I'm shocked that neither of you said this one, because I feel like this is the most egregious one of all,
There's-
is S. Huh?
Oh, I was because there's two that I'm thinking that I had a feeling were going to be on your list, so I want to see if either one of those make it, and then I'll say those.
Okay. Mine was going to be Asura's Wrath.
No, that wasn't.
Because you have to pay for the ending.
You have to pay extra money to see the actual story ending of that game.
D-
You play through the entire game, and it leaves like a cliffhanger, if I remember correctly. And then they give you the rest of the story in paid DLC that you had to buy.
Oh, like Dead Space 3?
Like what?
Dead Space 3?
Oh yeah, I did do that.
The Revenge of the Moons?
Yeah, well,
I don't remember that at all.
The game ends on the Dead Space 3 ends on the cliffhanger of is Isaac alive or not? And then the DLC is like, he is.
Oh. Hey, remember that time where we played that at Halloween? That was awesome.
Yeah, it was fun. The co-op was incredible, man. I couldn't believe how much better the love triangle was now that I'm playing a co-op.
Oh man, why do we? I miss playing games with you, man.
Well, I don't know. You're always agreeing to do everything else with everyone else. Right?
I know. He keeps telling me he's going to play games with me too. Never does.
I offered to I got up at like 3:00 in the morning one time to play.
And we played, didn't we?
What was that game?
Dragon's Crown.
Dragon's Crown. Yeah, it wasn't very good.
It was all right.
It was all right.
It obviously didn't compel us to go back.
There's
Yeah.
Mass Effect 3.
Mass Effect. I don't know.
Oh,
what
we had to get all
happened
the galactic power in order to get the real ending.
Yep.
Yeah, that wasn't. Well, not even the real ending to unlock one of the options.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Then they did that DLC to fix the ending.
Yeah, they had to. It was pretty bad. Yeah, Asura's Wrath is terrible because of that. I do remember when I beat the game, though, I was like, "Oh, this isn't as much a cliffhanger as people said it was."
Oh yeah.
But then after you pay for the DLC chapters, like, "Oh, it does have the rest of the story here." Okay. But
I saw
feel like
those. I saw those on sale, like over
Uh-huh.
Black Friday or something, and they were like 79 cents a piece. And I was still so angry about it, I refused. Like I did not pay it because I was like, "This is crap." I bought the game. I should be able to play the entire story with this disc.
I bought the game used like 5 years after it came out, so I guess it bothered me a lot less to get the DLC.
I mean, I paid $12-15 for it, whatever. I paid for it after the fact as well, but
Oh.
just the fact that I
So
bought
you
this game,
didn't think the game was worth $24 to finish, as opposed to the 15.
it was the principle, man.
All right.
It wasn't
you're
the
right.
monetary value; it was the principle.
Oh man, remember, that was back in the day when publishers made you feel bad about buying used. They're probably like, we didn't get any money from that game sale anyway. You owe
You're going to
us
bring
this
that up,
DLC.
Scott?
I was gonna bring it up, yeah, or the Sony's
And license
EULA
user agreement?
agreement that says you are not supposed to sell your physical copies of games to
it is
anybody.
illegal to resell your games.
Yeah,
I couldn't find this anywhere when you sent me that.
I was just screenshot that CB sent me.
Okay, so it's the one that I screenshotted was specifically everywhere else other than the United States. In the United States, it's under subsection 6 where it says you can't resell any digital content.
Yeah, it's just,
But
I'm pretty sure
everywhere
there's
outside
pawn-
the U.S., you cannot resell your physical discs.
Say in America, there are pawn laws that protect you to be able to sell pawn and resale laws.
How would they police that? How are they keeping these other countries from reselling physical games?
The resellers are not allowed to buy them.
So they don't have GameStops and stuff in other countries?
I don't know. I don't live there.
You've been to Paris, man. You've been to France.
I
You've
don't
been
go
to
to
Ireland.
GameStop over there. Screw that. Go to mom
Oh,
and
you're
pop
telling me you
shops.
didn't go. You're telling me you didn't go game hunting while you're out overseas.
I did, but I went to mom and pop shops. I'm not going to go to a GameStop.
Okay, that's my point. Is they have mom and pop shops that are
I didn't
reselling
find any
physical.
PS4. Well, I didn't find any PS4 games over there.
It's an unenforceable rule if it is a rule. This feels like a
It's one of those like
situation.
If they really wanted to get you, they could enforce it if they wanted to, but they're probably not going to.
Anyway, this has nothing to do with our topic.
Yeah. It kinda did
but
for
it
a
does.
minute.
It does remind me of remember when Catwoman wasn't in the Batman Arkham City if you bought it used.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
That was pretty inexcusable because she saves Batman at one point, but you don't know how she got there unless you bought it new. Or you know what? In a rare shout out to GameStop, for the first year or so, if you bought it used, they would just give you the code for the Catwoman.
Did they they just had a stack of Catwoman
Yeah,
code?
I think it was just on your receipt if you bought that game used.
Huh.
So it was
Wow.
almost like it was like they got a middle finger from WB, so they're like, well, here's one right back.
There you go. What were the other two you were thinking of, DB?
Well, there was two, technically three. Then I actually just remembered another one for Zach. Legend of Zelda, the OG,
Oh, the second quest.
second quest, Ghosts
But
and
it is-
Goblins.
I mean, there's no
But those are the
story.
true endings. Those are the
Yeah.
true endings.
I don't know. He's got you on the Zelda, I think.
I mean,
Because it does change the game.
it does change the game. It's
So,
just
yes,
basically doubles the game.
But those are the true endings, and they are a lot longer.
Yeah,
Ghosts and Goblins, like, screw that. Beating it's
Yeah, it's-
hard enough one time.
I did
That's
it.
terrible.
I did it.
Good for you.
But the one I thought you would say was Octopath Traveler.
Oh, I mean, that's more of a
The
Grinding.
long and laborious ending.
yeah. I still don't
that's
remember. I don't remember those characters. I remember that game like introduced itself great. That was one of the best intros to a game I had played in a long time. I was all on board, and I got to that third or fourth circle, and I was just like, I want to continue the story, and I don't want to grind.
Oh my god! I just thought of a terrible one.
Oh,
Persona 4 is about a 100-hour RPG.
Uh-huh.
And when you get to about the 85-hour mark, if you don't answer a series of questions in the correct way, you get locked out of the true ending.
Seriously.
It's pretty terrible. And I was so petrified. Thank God I had heard about it beforehand, so I made sure I got it. It was a spoiler-free which answers to pick guide to get the real ending.
Huh.
Because if you answer even one of them incorrectly, you just get locked out of the actual ending of the game.
Wow.
It's
Yeah.
pretty terrible.
Only if you got one question wrong.
You're screwed. Yeah.
It's nuts.
It's
to me.
frustrating. Imagine if you didn't know that, and now you had to replay a 90-hour game or whatever. Oh my god!
I
and
wouldn't
then
do it.
accidentally hit the wrong
No.
button again.
Oh my, yeah, I would shut off my PS2 and pretend it never happened.
I mean, even as a kid, I don't think I would have played a 90-hour game again.
Not if it screwed me over like that.
Yeah, like there's just no way.
Yeah, I mean, I guess probably not at all.
If I didn't have any money, I guess maybe, and I had
Yeah,
nothing
yeah.
else to play.
It's the only game I had.
Yeah.
The other one I thought of, Zach, because it's such an odd situation for this to happen, but to play the final two DLC alternate endings, Force Unleashed. If you do not own the Ultimate Sith Edition physical version, you cannot play those final two missions.
But that's not a true ending. That's a what if scenario.
But they're alternate endings.
yeah.
But for the game,
that's just fun DLC. I contend this.
Yeah, to
This
me,
is-
like the spirit of the question was, main story specific
but,
things
I
that
mean, canonically that character does not exist.
Sure,
So
but
for
you
in
also
that
kill
universe,
Luke Skywalker in that DLC. It's not. It's just not
So?
very serious.
I hate that the fact that some of those DLCs are unobtainable anymore.
Yeah, I
Ma-
think there's
Marvel
some
Ultimate
PS2s.
Alliance.
Oh yeah, those characters are gone. Yeah, all those games
can't-
are gone.
unless you have the gold special edition version, can't play those characters.
That stuff sucks. All the
The-
licensed stuff. Those Transformers, Cybertron games.
Yep.
Those are gone.
they're gone.
Uh,
Gone. Like you can't even. I mean, they made disc copies of those games back then, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
or
same
I
with
have
Ultimate
them.
Alliance, but you can't. If you were a new Transformers fan and you had just heard about them, it's going to take some work to get to them.
Yeah.
Still
Yeah,
have
you
a
need a
few of
piece-
them that are brand new sealed, thanks
You
to
need a
TNT.
PS3 or 360. Yeah, it's terrible. I do own them. Good.
The Lonesome Road for Fallout.
It's in Road. I don't remember that.
For the Lone Survivor, that's one of the endings, but you have to buy the DLC to reach that ending. We're like,
For
what?
3?
Vegas, right?
No, it's New Vegas.
Oh, okay. I don't remember that one.
But yeah, to achieve that character's like ultimate ending, you have to play through the DLC.
Well, that's what we thought of this topic, and Kevin, thank you for that. It's a good one, but let's see what our community thought. We had some responses on social media. We got Facebook, Discord, and TikTok. Yes, Kevin himself recorded a TikTok video for this question. It's pretty great. Zach, why don't you start off with our one comment we got from Facebook this week?
Facebook. Sean Coates writes in Star Wars Shadows of the Empire. After the last level, which is a space assault on a battle station, it's presumed that your character Dash Rendar was killed during the destruction. But if you beat the game on medium difficulty or higher, you get an alternate ending where Dash survives by jumping to hyperspace, but chooses to keep up the illusion that he's been killed. It's good to be remembered as a martyr without actually being dead, says Dash. Yeah, that's from my Max Payne 2 has an alternate ending if you beat it on hard,
Yeah.
where a character that dies does not die.
That's
But I
weird
always
that they would lock that behind just a medium level difficulty. I feel was that not the default? Was medium not the default on Shadows of the Empire?
I'm sure it was, but I think it's probably just. I guess it would punish you for playing on easy then,
Right.
Not giving you the real ending, right?
Yeah, I think that one, as soon as you boot it up, it has the selector. That easy, medium, and that flashing rainbow text.
Yeah, but man, I feel like that game. We did that one for a Break the Seal, didn't we? Was it like one you had never
We did
played
that
before?
one for retro for Star Wars.
I remember sitting tucked in that tiny little cubicle thing in your basement. We sat and played that game together for a while.
The old basement.
Yeah,
Man.
yeah.
Love Shadows of the Empire.
I actually read the book.
Still
Like
own
the. Do you?
Of course.
And I bought the soundtrack. I was super into that back when I was younger.
Well,
right over
was-
here in my room is the line of action figures still on the card.
Oh yeah.
They called it the movie without a movie because they did everything you would do for a movie, but just without the movie.
What's the name of the ship? Was it the Outrider?
The Outrider.
Yes.
It was like a Millennium Falcon wannabe, but I still thought it was rad.
I thought it was
the rotating pod.
I thought it was Shadows of the Empire was so cool because each media focused on a different aspect of the same story. Like
Yeah.
the book was about Han and the core crew and Prince Xijor, and then the comic Shadow of the Empire was about the bounty hunters who were chasing people. And the game was about Dash, who was filling in for Han while he's in Carbonite. I just thought it was very cool.
The trading
idea.
cards and some of the other stuff focused on Luke and Han.
Yeah.
Because they had a trading card line. The big ones like these.
Yeah, well, I remember those ones, the episode 1 ones.
The
You
big
just
wide
happen to
cards.
have a pack of collector cards like on your lap. Like, how did that happen?
I read the comments ahead of time and put things aside.
I have the episode 2 collector's cards were similar, where it was like scenes of the movies or whatever.
Yeah.
I
But they
remember I
did the
opened
16:9 wide ratio too.
Dude, I remember opening mine in the comic shop. Tomorrow was yesterday.
Yeah.
And the guy
Yeah.
behind the counter was like, "Oh my god!" He's like, "You got Zam Wessel, dude. She's gonna be the biggest character in that movie, man. I can tell."
I don't even remember who that was. Who was?
Exactly.
Dies.
She's the one who, she tries to kill Padme in the beginning, and Django kills her because she fails, basically.
Hmm.
But it was just so funny that's what I was told. I really believed him. I was like, "Well, he's an adult. He must know. He knows something about Zam Wessel. I don't know."
So do you think he actually would thought that, or was he just jacking with you?
Oh, I think the movie wasn't out yet, so I think he just thought that.
Yeah. There was a lot of
Right.
people that thought that.
Interesting.
We
Can we get
our
a
own Lego
new
set too?
Shadows of the Empire needs to be done again, and I don't mean like a remake. I mean
It's
they
High
just need to.
Republic. They're doing it right now, baby.
Which one?
The High Republic
Republic.
stuff.
I thought High Republic took place like a long, long time ago.
Oh, you mean like you want another like fills in the gap story?
I want another Shadows of the Empire. Like I want the same
Shadows of
story.
the Empire, but done as a remaster.
Not a remaster. Like don't make the same game. Bring in all the stuff. Bring in everything that you're talking about. The stuff from the books, the stuff from the game, the stuff from the comics, and make one giant brand new game on it. We'd have recognizable characters from it. We'd have Dash Rendar, or have they said that he's not Cainan?
Well,
I'd say I don't know if that story works with canon at all.
Yeah.
I mean, they're kind of doing that with High Republic. I mean, you got the books, the comics.
Yeah, it's the spirit of it for sure, but I guess he literally just wants Shadow of the Empire.
Yeah.
He
Anyway,
wants what he had when he was younger, and he wants it again.
I don't even know if I
new.
want it in first person. That's a thing. It's like I don't even.
I still
know
remember from Shadows of the Empire, my dad took me to the Chicago Orchestra Philharmonic when they debuted the soundtrack.
Yeah.
Wow, it's pretty cool.
And yeah, the soundtrack, and I was like, "There's going to be another movie," and then never existed.
Yeah. CB, we're gonna move over to Discord. You want to read Tim's comment?
Yes, Tim Paulin likes to tell us it's irritating to come across a quest you're under the required level to complete. Just hide it, game. Don't even let me see it. But on the flip side, don't let me wander into an area that I'm going to get slaughtered. Looking at you, Witcher 3. Dude, I love when games do that.
Where they give you the number, like, oh, I should not be here.
Well, not only that, like sometimes you'll see like the name is red and there's like skulls next to it.
Yep.
World of Warcraft was infamous for this. So was EverQuest. Oh god, EverQuest, it was so bad because when your character died in EverQuest, like if you died and you respawned, all your stuff stayed on that character.
Right.
But if you died again, that body disappeared. So you can have like all your best stuff die, be running back to get it again, die, gone forever.
Just like Dark Souls.
Next comment comes from Carmel Bear. He says, I'm going to go with my first thought on this one, and that thought was the Destiny franchise. I was disappointed with initial launch of the game because nothing made sense with the story. Flash forward to Destiny 2, and I decided to give the game another go, and something about the game clicked this time around. So I decided to hop on forums and find out that there's physical lore that you can buy and read, or read online for free. I decided to read the lore starting with the Hive and its sword logic. I went back to Destiny 1, replayed the campaign, the DLC, and fell in love with the series because everything made sense once you read the lore. I finally felt immersed and devoted to the gameplay and a connection to some of these characters and was looking forward to the next chapter. At the end, games should not, in my opinion, do this. This is awful for those who just want to play a game, but as for me, I had a blast up until Lightfall. I just gave up and moved on from the franchise. TLDR, I don't know what TLDR stands for.
Too long didn't read.
Too long didn't read. A game should not require you to read books, trinkets, or buy collection editions to get the full picture of what is going on. If they do this, the additional stuff should be just that, additional to the game and its story. What was the other game that had like lore that was online that you had to go read?
Halo.
Was it?
I think Destiny is one where you had to like download a specific app and you would unlock lore entries, grimoire cards in the game.
Okay, so we're talking about the same game.
And then you would have to go to the app I think you could log into the website to read it. So you couldn't even read the lore entries in the game itself.
Right. So the game I was thinking of is the actual one that he was referring to. So it's
terrible. I mean, that's got to be the worst way to do it of all time.
Right. Like, just
could you imagine every time you get a database entry in an Assassin's Creed game, you would have to whip up the Assassin's Creed app to read about the church you just walked past?
I wouldn't do it.
Exactly.
I don't read it in game often. I mean, I just kind of skim through it or whatever. But like, if it's actual lore, I mean, like that the kind of stuff you're talking about is like the history, which I wasn't really interested in when I was playing the Assassin's Creed games originally. Now I'm a little more interested. You know, like I'm kind of fascinated by like how accurate.
It's funny that you would read fake lore entries, but real history, you're like, yawn.
Well, when you're a kid, man, I mean, come on.
But it's funny because all lore is fictional history.
Right.
Yeah.
We're only interested if it's made up.
Yeah, not if it's true and also crazy.
Yeah.
Who cares about that?
Well, I think the perception is that real life is never as interesting as the stuff people make up. But I'm not saying that's accurate. I'm just saying that's what it feels like.
It felt that way when I was younger. Then you grow up and you learn about all the crazy stuff that happened in history. You're like, watch it.
Yeah.
I mean, history's written by the victor.
I've heard that somewhere. Probably from a victor somewhere.
All right, we got a couple comments over on TikTok.
Yeah, Aaron Hughes II says, am I allowed to say this word on this podcast?
No.
I think it's BS. Are you happy, Mr. Clark?
I am very happy.
Multiple endings are cool, but the real one shouldn't be locked yet. So it's just so frustrating because it feels a little disrespectful, right? I gave you my money. I gave you my dozens of hours. And your answer is, well, you didn't do it right, though.
Oh, that's a really interesting way to think about it.
That's not the way it happened.
Yeah. Very, kind of insulting.
Yeah.
Old Fool Gamer writes in, it's sweet. I remember when you only unlocked the Kingdom Hearts 2 secret teaser if you 100%ed Kingdom Hearts. It was so rewarding.
See, that's a little different. That's teaser for the next game, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I think that's great.
You got to earn that for sure. But as long as it's nothing from this story, the story for this game, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh man,
I'm with you.
Or
a secret teaser, that's cool as hell.
That is cool.
And then usually it's so early and so vague that it's not really giving you anything anyway.
Right, but when that game first initially released, I don't know how that game ended because I never finished it. But was it even known that there was going to be a second one?
No, it certainly wraps up well.
Yeah. So if you did all this extra work, you realized, oh, there's going to be another one. Would have been awesome.
One. and another one, and
And a fraction of another one.
I love when the Sly Cooper games came out on PS2, right? And then they did that PS3 HD remaster.
Mm-hmm.
And if you 100%ed each of the games in the remaster, that's how they announced Sly 4.
That's cool.
It was just a teaser video that you had to get the platinum, basically, in the 3 games to unlock.
That is a
That's pretty
series
awesome.
I really
more
regret never
companies
playing.
Need to do.
Yeah. But the problem is we live in a digital age where like anything like that comes up and it's just all going to be everywhere. You
Not
don't have
always.
to earn it anymore.
Look how long it took him to find the Batman one.
Batman one.
You from Arkham City map and Arkham Asylum?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was many years ago now, but yeah.
But I mean,
That was also-
nobody found it for a while.
It was also a younger internet 10 years ago.
Yeah. And not everybody's sitting there combing through like every nook and cranny, trying to phase through walls to find hidden things.
Right. Well, back then there wasn't as much of a financial incentive to be quite the person who discovered something.
Right.
It was
You
it
just
had-
got to be the cool person. That's it.
I was gonna say it had a little bit more of the energy of like, hey, check out this cool thing I saw.
Mhm.
But now it would be like, hey guys, I found this secret in Arkham Asylum, but first I got to talk to you about World of Tanks. Yeah.
Remember how much that was advertised back then?
It
It's
still
terrible.
is.
Is it?
Yeah. But
Ah.
oh, man.
Smash that like button. Our last comment comes from Blitzer Maru, who says, I think there are some games that do it well, like Nier, because the
Yeah,
game
right.
changes through multiple playthroughs and each ending is a different piece of the same story. I will never know.
Blitzer's right. I mean, Nier Automata does this very well.
Yeah.
Because the first New Game Plus is a different angle on the same story, but you learn a lot more. And then the second New Game, I don't know, calling them New Game Pluses, it's a little, they're doing themselves a disservice.
It's like the second half of the game.
New game
Yeah.
alternate.
It's basically a sequel to the game you just played.
Yeah, someday. Do it. Anyway, that was a great great topic, Kevin. Thank you for suggesting that. We had a lot of fun with that. Next week we're going to be recording not on Christmas Eve, but on the day before Christmas Eve. So it makes sense for us to do something Christmas related for a topic, but we have no idea what that would be. We've done Christmas gifts, we've done Christmas decorating,
Christmas
we've
wish list.
Christmas wish list. We've done that. We'll come up with something. So stay tuned to the social media outlets for what that question is going to be. If you have a suggestion, let us know. What could we talk about Christmas related next week? Or should we just skip the Christmas theme altogether and just do some other random topic? But
No, it's always a little.
it
Let's
is
do it
always.
about July 4th.
What's your favorite
Patrick's
game?
Day.
I thought about doing a topic based on like what we would want in a Christmas themed video game. You know, like, but I feel like that would be really, really difficult to come up with anything.
No,
So
it's not. It's really easy. Die Hard.
I hate you so much.
Oh,
He's
gonna cancel the show, man.
You know, I had a hankering to watch Die Hard the other day, and I stopped myself because it's the Christmas season. I legitimately will not watch that movie until
It's
after
because
New
the
Year's.
movie's calling you because it knows
No.
its true purpose.
'Cause it's a good movie. It's a great movie, but I'm not gonna take part in it being a Christmas movie thing. So
But it says ho 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 right on that guy's dead body.
It's at a Christmas party about a family coming together.
I'm not getting it. I'm not getting into
Come out
this
to the
argument.
coast.
That's going to do it for this episode of The Gaming Outsider. Thank you so much for listening. This episode, as always, was produced by Kevin Honeyford, and the music you hear is written and performed by Grant Henry of Stemage and Metroid Metal. Please check out his music. He's awesome. And he's going to be coming on in another, 2-3 weeks?
That's
He's going to
true.
be doing our Game of the Year episode. I am stoked for that. If you have any questions or concerns, please shoot us an email. Our address is feedback@thegamingoutsider.com. Zach, do you have any parting words or recommendations for our listeners?
Yeah, I was watching a bit of a classic the other day. It's called Die Hard. It's a great Christmas movie. No, I don't really have anything this week.
Okay, CB, how about you?
I don't know if you talked about it so far on the show, but it's been a hot minute since I've been here.
Yeah.
But Godzilla -1, folks, go see it.
Now, do you have to be like a hardcore Godzilla freak to enjoy that movie, or is it just a fun movie?
No, that is a phenomenal piece of storytelling with a giant lizard that has atomic breath.
Okay. So it's a Godzilla movie.
No, it is. Well, it is a Godzilla movie, but it's specifically more in the theme of the original Toho Godzilla, like way back when it was like these are human stories that just happen to have a giant atomic lizard in them.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw it as well. I'm not a big Godzilla fan, and I could say it is a more of a post World War II drama than it is a Godzilla movie.
Huh.
I would say Godzilla just happens to be the catalyst. He is much like the original movie, like CB was saying. He's basically just an allegory for an atomic bomb in this movie.
Gotcha. Okay.
A little bit, but some other things in this one too.
Yeah, it's good. It's
I'll
a good
check
movie.
it out. As for me, I actually have a personal recommendation that actually is gaming related to some degree. I was in one of my groups this week, one of my collectors groups, and this guy posted that he was selling banners that he makes himself of video game box art. And I was like, man, those are really cool. And he had them for a really cheap price, and I bought a bunch of them. So his name is Cainan Barboza, and he actually has an Etsy shop. And this is not going to make for great radio, but you guys can see
It's a giant Majora's Mask cover.
Yeah, it is a giant Majora's Mask cover, and I pulled this one out just for you, Zach, because I know it's your favorite Zelda game, or one of your favorite Zelda games. But he sold these to me for $10 a piece, which seems insanely cheap to me. It's a pretty decently sized thing, but he was also doing he said they were buy 5 get 1 free, so I actually bought 12 of them.
Oh wow.
I mean, some were gifts, but if you check out his link, I actually put a link in the show notes for this episode on his Etsy shop. Now he's got higher prices on his Etsy shop, but he told me that he would give our community the same deal that he offered me. $10 a piece. You don't have to buy 5 but if you do, you get a 6th one for free. I mean, if you look at the website, he's got some incredible work that he's done there. I'm not a Pokemon guy, but the Pokemon ones look really cool. And they're really well done. They look exactly like the box art. They've got the little grommets in them to be able to hang them wherever you want to. I'm going to plaster these all over my classroom. No, it's just like a fabric. It's a
okay. So it's like flag fabric.
Flag fabric is probably a good way to put it, but they're really well done. They're stitched, they're grommeted, and they're big. This big one right here, just $10. And
should CB and I be expecting one in the mail as a gift here?
No, sorry.
No.
I could
Okay.
I could send this one to you if you want.
No,
But-
I don't want it. It's fine. No, I don't. I was just. You said
you
for
don't?
gifts. You said you were sending them for gifts, so I didn't know if that's what you meant.
I already gave them to the person who
The
received.
people. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Understood.
So I
How much?
like that person better than I like you guys, apparently.
Oh,
$100,
clearly.
yeah.
You don't come over. You don't play games anymore.
Dude, if I had time. Anyway, if you want to get the deal I got, he said you can buy them from the Etsy shop, but it's a couple bucks more on there. But if you message him on Facebook, or if you wanted to ask me for his email address, I can get that to you. I don't have it handy, but I just PayPal'd him, and I'm vouching for him because he sent me all 12 right away, and I liked what he got. I actually have the other 9 or so over there. I got Earthbound, I got Super Metroid, Mega Man X, Zelda 2, Zelda 3. I bought like a whole bunch of them, and I think I'm just going to plaster them all over my classroom because they look that good. So yeah, check out his Etsy to see what he's got. And then he actually is in the Facebook group now. Or again, his name is Cainan, Cainan, Barboza, Barboza. And he'll hook you up with the same deal that he gave us. He also talked about maybe doing some for giveaways at some point in the future too. So he's a really nice guy. So. Anyway, thanks so much for listening to the episode. Zach, it was awesome chatting with you again. CB, good to have you back, buddy. It's been way too long, man.
Yeah, I know.
But it wasn't awesome to chat with.
I know. No, he doesn't acknowledge me anymore. Like I said, I'm just here for him.
See me, I feel like because we stopped doing D&D, we took like a hiatus on D&D just because scheduling and this time of year is nuts. It's been like a couple months since I've seen you in person.
And I even moved closer to you.
I know.
Like you just don't you don't come around anymore.
Well, we spent like so much time in the summer together getting ready for R2V2 and then
He's
during
just sick of me.
R2V2.
He doesn't want me around.
I have just been busier than a one-legged man in an ass-kicking contest. That's all I can say. So, but all right, guys, we are out of here. Until next week, I'm Scott Clark with Zach Parkerson and Chris Behrensmeyer, and we are the Gaming Outsider. And remember, there's no such thing as a bad game, just games that aren't for you.